I request everybody to keep their mics on. I request everybody to keep their mics on mute, please. So I just want the answer in the chat of the Zoom that am I audible and is my voice clear to everybody, and like is the screen visible to everybody? I request everybody to keep their mics on mute. I won't repeat it more than 2 times now. So am I audible to now? Am I audible to everyone now? Like some of the students are writing in chat that they are not able to hear me. So I just want to confirm before that. Okay, so if anybody is not able to hear me, maybe that's because maybe their speaker has some problem. So let's start with the class. I would just like to know that how many students are there in this class who have not solved even a single reading or listening before, who are totally new. Okay. कुछ भी नहीं, मतलब basically बिल्कुल fresh होगा. So we are delivering this class both in offline and online mode. And so I'll just discuss a little bit about the basics of IELTS first, and then we'll move to the techniques of reading. Firstly, I'll write the agenda somewhere. Just a second. So firstly, we'll talk about the basics, which will be in like till 8:30. Then reading techniques, a little about them, not very much in detail, but it will still take up to 9:30. And then we'll be moving to writing part. Before that, I'll explain the structure of our group lectures. And then speaking techniques. It would be taking more time than expected. Then I just would reduce some timings here. So we'll be following this schedule today for the class. अच्छा स्क्रीन नहीं आ रही फोन मैंने लगा कि स्क्रीन चल रही है Okay, I'm going to start with this basics first, the format, and then we'll move to the techniques. So basically, if you will search on Google and type Cambridge IELTS 12, Cambridge IELTS 13, or something like Cambridge IELTS practice test, then you will even get the links to freely to download these books for free. There are from book 1 to book 16 available on the internet, which is the genuine material provided by Cambridge, and the test is of the same difficulty level. So I highly recommend to solve these books only and not to go on any other practice material. Like there are other practice materials also like Test Plus, IELTS Fever, Succeed in IELTS, Makkad IELTS and all. But I do not recommend solving them because there is a strong thing which I believe that you should practice or you should do quality work instead of doing quantity work. So if you will learn some wrong concepts from the other books, like suppose there is a question in reading and its answer has to be false. But in some book, because they have hurriedly made that book and they have not given a well thought on that question, and they mention it as suppose not given, but it has to be false, then you will learn that concept in the real exam also. You will apply not given. And suppose you are a GT student who requires 34, because of that question you get 33, then your writing, speaking and listening will also be wasted because of one wrong concept. So that much important is to have quality over the quantity. I'll just close my WhatsApp here. Okay. So you can get them for free. You do not have to roam around anywhere. You just have to type download Cambridge IELTS 16. From book 1 to book 10, the academic and GT books were in the same one book. Like there used to be 4 academic reading tests, 4 listenings and 2 GT readings in the same book. From book 11 onwards, they have started separating them. And like for book 11, we have separate book for GT and separate book for academic. Till book 16 we have now. And I don't say that any book is bad. Like some of the people say that the initial versions are not that much effective, that the versions before book 7 are outdated, but I still believe that they are good to practice instead of going to any other material. Now in this book, they have given a good detail about the basics of IELTS also. Like they have mentioned that this test is of checking your communication in English language. And basically this is not the test of your knowledge. So if you use fake examples also in your writing, in your speaking, or if you do not have the exact detailed knowledge about something, but you can convince other person with your speaking, then also you will get a good score. Because in my real speaking exam or writing exam, I have been using fake examples, and I have got like 7.5 in both writing and speaking. Then this test is divided into two sections, like two modules, academic module and GT module. The academic one is for registration of nurses or some professions or study visa. The GT one is for work visa, or you can say permanent residency. The format of the exam is also given in this book, that firstly your listening will be played when you will be in the exam. It would be of 40 minutes, which will have 40 questions, and there will be an audio played for 30 minutes. We'll talk about listening more in detail in the listening techniques section. I'm just giving you a rough idea that there will be a listening test. Similarly, then there will be a reading test, which will be of 60 minutes, and there will be 40 questions. There will be writing test, which will be of 60 minutes. And in those 60 minutes, you have to complete a task 1 and a task 2. Task 2 is always an essay. Task 1 for GT students is a letter, and for academic students, it is describing a chart or a picture. These three things happen together at one place on whichever date you have booked your exam. The speaking test happens on a separate, sometimes a separate date, sometimes on the same date, and sometimes on the separate venue, sometimes on the same venue also. The test is available both in pen paper based mode and computer delivered mode. To know more about the computer delivered, you can check one of my videos on YouTube channel about pen paper based versus computer delivered, where I have made the comparison between the two. It is just a 15 minutes video, but as I think that there would be not many students who would be interested in knowing the same, because many of them are already decided that they'll be taking pen paper based. So I'm not describing much about the computer delivered now. But from my personal experience, I have enjoyed computer delivered more. Like, I'll introduce a little bit about myself. My name is Princepreet Singh Chahal, and I have taken IELTS exam for 12 times. The first time I took it was in 2014, and it was a pen paper based exam for academic IELTS. Since then, I have taken this exam for 11 more times, and I have improved my score from 7.5 to 9 in listening, from 6.5 to 8.5 in reading, from 6.5 to 7.5 in speaking and writing. So apart from just knowing that how to get a good score, I know the journey, that why we were at a lower score, what we have to change, and how we reach at a higher score. Because I believe that there are three types of teachers. One who has never achieved the score himself or herself and start teaching. Like, one of the times there was a candidate who applied for an IELTS trainer job in our institute, and he told that he has 8 band score. We just took him on a trial period, and we found that he was having 6.5. So we asked him to leave, because see, TRFs can be easily fabricated and people can just lie in the interviews. But later on, you judge the level after knowing the techniques he's using or the way he's explaining everything. But now that person has a YouTube channel. Okay, so basically, I want to tell you that there are so many people in the IELTS world who themselves have not scored, and they are teaching for a higher level. Like, themselves, they have 6.5, but they are teaching people how to get 7, how to get 8, or even the band 9 samples which you see on the sites. They are basically written by those who have got 7 or 7.5. So people do a lot of fake things because they believe that nobody can catch them. So don't trust anybody who's giving tips on YouTube or who's even publishing books, because publishing book does not mean that you must have a score. Then there are second type of teachers who have scored without much preparation. They just went into the exam and they got 8 band. Now, the story behind them is that they had good schooling, or they had already a good level, and they get a score. And when they get a score, they start teaching. Now, they cannot explain a person who is at 5.5 or 6 that how to get 8. Because they'll say it is very easy, just do this, just do that, and you'll get the score. But actually, they have the stamina, they have the concentration, they have the familiarization with the words. They are far better in understanding the context than the person who is at 5.5. They ignore the other things also which are required apart from the technique. So things would not work like that way also, that if you are just looking at something perfect and you will become perfect. There are third type of teachers who have struggled their way, and they have given time to this. They have known to the wrong things also, and they have then changed to the right things also. So they know that why some things appear appealing, but they are incorrect, and why, on which things we should focus. Like in a lot of institutes, we see teachers writing on the board that cram these 10 vocabulary words and start using them in your writing or in your speaking, and your score will boost. I have never seen it working, because there is a reason behind it. If I'll say the active vocabulary of Shakespeare, if I'll just search on internet, it will say that Shakespeare knew 66,000 words. And if I search for a native speaker also, it will say a native speaker knows around 20,000 words. And basically, a person learns 1 word per day. That is the average speed of a person learning new words. But if we see words in English in dictionary, according to Wikipedia, a good source, and basically just go to this link where they have the table for dictionaries. We'll find that somewhere here, I think. Okay. According to Oxford, there are 171,000 words in English. And according to English Wikitony, there are 520,000 words. So one lifetime is short to learn all the words. This, I understood that I need not to know every word to solve a reading. I need not to have too many synonyms to get a higher score in writing. Because the first time I got 7 in writing, for the word people, I had just 2 synonyms, a person and one. I even did not knew the word individual or any other synonyms. But my writing was so precise that I wrote what I meant. So I got 7. So they are not looking at synonyms only. There are several factors, and a lot of teachers are actually emphasizing on the wrong things. That is why the students are just confused and they are struggling, and there is so much struggle in this IELTS world because there is so much pollution here. There are so many opinions without any evidences. So whatever I'll be telling you today, it will have evidences. We would have tried it, and it would look logical also to you guys. Because I'll not be just saying that you'll change in one day from one thing to another. But there are some things which can change in one day also, like your concentration level. So moving back to this part, I just told you that do not start following anybody blindly here in the IELTS world. Then coming back, we have academic and GT, and we have 4 types of tests which will be taken: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. We'll be discussing about them in detail later on. They have also explained that what type of sections will be coming in listening, that in section 1 you can expect two people having conversation between them. And basically the best way to learn the listening techniques and reading techniques is to solve 2-3 practice tests on your own, have some idea about the format, because even if I'll be explaining it to you through a lecture, you will not get that much experience as much you will get if you will be solving it on your own. Just solve it by having a headphone, and after doing 2-3 practice tests, then listen to these techniques. You will be able to understand them in a better way. Otherwise, it would be just a lecture for you guys. Because then after 2-3 practice tests, you will be curious to know how to get more correct answers. Same is the case for reading. And for writing, I would say that for writing, you should know something before you start writing. So you should have some input. You should have seen some essays and all. Otherwise, there would be complete wastage of 1 hour if you will be writing something crap, and then you will come to know that you have just wasted time. You have to change it completely. Same goes for speaking. For speaking also, you should be familiar with the type of questions and the demand of the test, and then start practice. And this is something like learning about IELTS is like doing swimming. You would not learn everything by standing at the edge. You have to jump inside. You have to move your hands, and you will fail. Then you will come outside. Then the instructor will tell you that you have to change this in this way, and then you have to again try. Because if you are standing at the edge, you would not be able to have that experience of swimming, and you would not be actually able to contain all those instructions at once. Okay. So I see a lot of students who even meet me after 3 days or 4 days, and they say that we are not that much comfortable in the writing structure, or we are not getting that confidence in speaking, or we are not able to complete the reading in time, or basically when we are listening, a lot of questions skip. So it is something like your starting phase. You will get used to it. In 10 days, 15 days, you will get used to it. And by applying techniques one by one, you will improve. So like when you were driving a car the first time, you didn't drove it in the 5th gear. You drove it in the 1st gear, and maybe somebody else was changing the gear. You were just holding the, you can say, just holding that handle and steering, and maybe somebody else was giving the speed and all. That can also be happening. So when you come to IELTS, you want to do it like the 5th gear in the 1st day. It is not possible, right? You will slowly and steadily learn everything. But after 15 days, you are good at driving also. Similarly, after, I would say, 20 days, if you will attend our group classes, you will be good with all the concepts in IELTS also. So let's proceed with the reading techniques. I'll not speak much about the basics because we'll be covering them in the part where I'll be explaining the sections also. Okay, there are some doubts already from the students, even when I have not started explaining anything. So they are so curious. Okay. So, sir, please speak in Hindi or Punjabi when you will be telling about techniques. Okay. I'll be explaining that why I'm using English. There are a few reasons for that. The first reason is when we did a survey with our students who had passed from us or who were studying with us, we took a survey with more than 100 students, and we asked that which language I should be using, Punjabi, Hindi, or English. The maximum votes were for English. The thing was that they had been a part of my lectures, and they understood that when I am speaking English, they get something to learn. They get some words, some pronunciation, or something better is happening, instead of when I am explaining totally in Punjabi. Right? Second thing was that some of the students who were working, they also told that they do not get much time to listen to English in their daily routine. They cannot just be on Netflix. So when they attend my lectures, they feel like that they are a part of English communication. So it helps them in focusing on the English. I request everybody to have their videos off. So it helps them to focus, which helps them later on in listening part also, because their observation power is improved to listen something in English. Third reason is that by using English, we are able to serve more number of students. And that is also one reason. But still, for 10% of the time, I'll be using Punjabi because majority of the students are from the Punjabi region. Okay. So I'll be using Punjabi wherever I'll feel that the concept was hard and a person cannot understand it in the first go in English. But otherwise, I'm using simple English. And if you do not have a mental block in your head, usually we build mental blocks about things. Like suppose somebody tells you to that you have to run for 400 meters. You will have a mental block first in your head that I cannot run. And because of that mental block, you would not be able to. Otherwise, if you will just tell your brain that I'll just walk or I'll just jog, I can do it for 800 meters also, I have done before, then that mental block will be gone and you will be able to do that. So a lot of students have mental blocks about English that they cannot do it. But let me tell you something, that no person was the perfect person in the first day. Even when I was preparing for IELTS for the first time, I did not knew where to use do and where to use does. I even did not knew that with did we use no, not knew. Okay. So I still make those mistakes. And there was a lot of mistakes, and I was not that much open that right now, as I'm speaking in front of you, in front of a camera, that I was even not able to speak with a lot of people. I was not comfortable in speaking to strangers. I was more into writing and very less into speaking. So even I have been a part of the sports teams, but I was that guy who used to sit away from all the people and just play when playing. So things change. You can change them. You did not knew, you'll say, how to drive a car, but you started driving and now you're good at it. Maybe you go to a gym and the first day you are lifting 2.5 kg. But maybe after 6 months, you are lifting 30 kg or 40 kg. So you never dreamt that on first day that you will be lifting this. So things change. Just have trust in yourself. Do not build mental blocks. Otherwise, it would be very difficult. And that is growth, which we have in our life. Growth is like, it's not in financial terms, it is not in reputation terms. Growth is like being better than the person we were last year. Just being better than that. So let's see what doubts are there, other doubts. Then I'll start with the reading techniques, because in the reading techniques, I would not like to stop somewhere because it will break the continuity. Okay. How to prepare for speaking? I'm an online student. I had taken 2 exams of IELTS and in both I have scored 6. Okay. Speaking techniques will be in the last. Like I have explained the schedule. At this time, we'll be doing the speaking techniques. Oh, sorry, this time. 10:30 to 10:45. I'll talk about how to improve your speaking, because even I struggled a lot in this. People do not find speaking that much hard, but it was like listening and speaking were the hardest for me. Reading and writing were the easiest for me. Okay. I got 4.5 in reading. The reason mostly for 4.5 is that you are going for shortcuts and you are not reading the passage. But I'll talk about it also. Listening, okay, we'll talk about that. How to complete speaking session from myself, because I think it's harder for me. Speaking, okay, we'll talk about it. 6.5 in writing. My favorite zone is this, having people stuck at 6.5 in writing and taking them to 7. I have done it for more than 70, 80 students. And we know a lot of things which are going incorrect in the market, because of which people are stuck here. They just are using things without their need. Even when some things are not needed, they are using them in their writing. I clearly understand English, but I want to learn in Punjabi. Okay. Don't be offended. I'm from Patiala. Okay, so basically everybody who is asking doubts, they are asking for certain techniques only. So we should start, I think. We should not wait. But please note that at one time, I cannot deliver 3 types of techniques. At one time, if you want to understand, I'll be concentrating on one thing and slowly we'll move to the next thing, and that is how you will learn. So please do not ask other things when I'm explaining reading techniques. Because I'll be checking the chat. I have that habit that if anybody asks the doubt, I stop and I start explaining that doubt. Hanji. Okay, I'll talk about the things. Chalo, hum start tha karan do. So for academic IELTS, we have passages of 2 pages, which will be having 12 to 14 questions attached with them. So like this, we have 2-page passage, and they'll have like 5 questions here and 8 questions here. So 13 questions in total. I'll also open another file for GT students. This is listening part. For GT students, the passage length is 1 page in the starting, and they have 6 to 8 questions with them. So one passage, 6 to 8 questions, second passage, 6 to 8 questions, third passage, 6 to 8 questions, fourth passage, then again 6 to 8 questions, and the last passage would be of 2 pages with 12 to 14 questions. So some questions and then 2-page length passage. This is what they have to solve. Because a lot of students are targeting for 8777 in GT, so their demand is 34 out of 40 in reading. For academic, as most of the students are looking for 6 each, 6.5 overall. So for 6 in reading, your demand is 23. So in this reading, basically we have 5 types of questions. We have true, false, not given, in which we have to read the statement and see that in the passage, the same information is given and opposite information is given, or this information cannot be judged from the passage. If the same information is given, it would be true. If it is opposite, then it would be false. If the decision cannot be made, it would be not given. But this is one of the trickiest questions, and we have a detailed technique about them. So in the true, false, not given questions, I'll just talk about them in a paint file. So true, false, not given. In these questions, the tips are: 1, always read the question first. Okay, so you have to read the first question because the answers are always in a sequence. So your first question's answer will come somewhere in the first, second, third, or something like 4th paragraph. And then the second question's answer will come below that. Third question's answer will come after that. Fourth after that, and fifth after that. I'm not telling you to skim the passage and just move to the 4th paragraph if the 4th first answer is there. You have to read everything from the top only, but you have to be worried about the first question only in the beginning. If you will read the rest of the 4 questions also, your mind will be puzzled and you will not be able to concentrate on the paragraph and have speed, because again and again you will be checking for other questions. So just read the first question, like the oak has the thickest bark of any living tree. Now you have read it. Second attempt should be divide it into parts and basically predict for all 3 options. So I'll divide it like the oak. This is the first part. Has the thickest bark. This is the second part. And of any living tree, this would be the third part. So now I'll think that how it can turn into true, how it can go into false, and how it can go into not given. I'll have that prediction. So if they have not talked about the cock, it would be not given, because we do not have any idea that whether the cock has the thickest bark or not. So this is how it can go not given. Second, if it has the second most thickest bark, or if it is not having the thickest bark, then it would be false. But if they have not talked about thickness, but talked about some other feature, then it would be not given. Of any living tree, if they have not made comparison with any living tree, then it would be not given. If they have said that there used to be a tree with more thick bark in past, but now it is not there, so this is the thickest one, then it would be true. But if there is any other tree living which has more thicker bark, then it would be false. So like that, firstly, I should assume that how it can go true, how it can go false, and how it can go not. Then I should move to the passage and start finding information. Because if I have not read the question clearly, the chances are that I'll go to the passage immediately and I'll get corrupt by having all the information in the passage. There will be too many things told there, and I'll forget that what I was looking for. And then I'll bring some other information, start comparing it with the passage, and start comparing it with the question and give a wrong answer. So the wrong answers in true false are basically because the students do not read the question first and understand it. They just jump to the passage, have some other information, and then when I take their doubts also, they say that, sir, passage A bhi to kya hoya? I said, why that matters to you? Because you should be just concerned about what the question is asking. So I'll give you one example of this, 1 or 2 examples, so that you can learn how students make mistakes. The third step is just to read passage and answer. Here is very strong tip. Actually, these are the steps. The strong tip is do not compare the info of passage with question. Do not bring the information from the passage to the question. I'll give you some questions. Some of you will be making mistakes in those also, because I have been experimenting it before also, but you will learn that how the mistakes are made. So I recommend you to be participating in this question. Okay. So suppose in the passage, they have written, there was a bomb blast in Ludhiana, which is a city, yesterday at 6 p.m. And they ask you in the question, there was a bomb blast or a bomb exploded in Patiala. I request everybody to keep their videos off, please. Yesterday at 6 p.m. So now you have to answer that whether the answer will be true, false, or not. Okay. So those who think that the answer will be true, they can raise their hands. Those who think the answer would be false, they can raise their hands. Those who think the answer would be not given, they can raise their hands. Okay. So in this case, the answer actually is not given. And the reason is, we should just be concerned about the question and not about the passage. So we were looking that in Patiala, was there a bomb blast yesterday at 6 p.m.? But from the passage, we get no information about Patiala. Maybe there was a bomb blast. Maybe there was not a bomb blast in Patiala. We are getting information about something different, about Ludhiana. And it does not mean that there was only one bomb. So it could blast at one place only. So that is the main mistake in true false, that students actually read this part, then read this part, and then come back from that part to this part. And they have a filled brain. And because of that, they make mistakes. I'll give you another option or another chance to get it correct. So in the passage, suppose they have written, Indians eat only vegetarian. In the question, they are saying, sorry. Okay, just make your mind. So those who think the answer should be true, they can raise their hands. Those who think the answer should be false, they can raise their hands. Those who think the answer would be not given, they can raise their hands. So basically, we were having hands raised on all three options. I don't know why, but still, this is happening. It means that people lack the basic concepts of true false not given. The answer to this question would be not given. The reason is that we should be just concerned about the question. They are asking Asians eat only vegetarian, but in the passage they are giving information about only one Asian country. They are not talking about Singaporeans, Chinese, Pakistanis, and other people. So we'll not assume from our side that Chinese eat non-veg, because of which coronavirus spread. That is our information. We'll not bring it into the passage. We'll just look at what is given in the passage. They are talking about only India. And from India, we cannot judge about Asia. So it would be not given. We should always be going in this direction. Then we will get the correct answers. But if we'll go into this direction, we'll start looking for Indians in Asia, it will become true. So that is why I am saying you guys that it matters the most that you do not bring the information from the passage to the question. You just remain concerned about the question in true false. Yes, you can ask your question. ठीक है. So सिखो कि मैं किमें दस रहे. ठीक है. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਥਾਟ 'ਚ ਨਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਓ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਗੇ. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਘਬਰਾਓ ਨਾ. ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਦੱਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਨੂੰ ਪੜਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਤੇ ਹੀ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਰੋ. ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਟਰੂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਫਾਲਸ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਨਾਟ ਗਿਵਨ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੋਚੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ. ਫਿਰ ਪੈਸੇਜ ਤੇ ਜਾਓ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਪੈਸੇਜ ਤੇ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ ਨਾ ਉਲਝ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਚੱਕ ਲਿਆਓਗੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਆਨਸਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਮਝਾਏਗਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਹਾਂ ਹਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਸੀਗਾ. ਉਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦੇਖਣ ਦਾ ਨਜ਼ਰੀਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗਲਤ ਹੁੰਦਾ.
ਸਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਲਤ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਰ true false
I request everybody to be on mute in the online class because I would not be able to hear everybody if everybody starts speaking.
Hello.
One by one, I require everybody to be speaking. I request the online students to be using chat, please. And the offline students would be raising hands. Because see, there are around 100 people here. And I would not be able to even hear 3 people if they start talking together. Yes. Basically, firstly, let me see in the online class, like if they have any doubts, then I'll look for the offline ones. I request everybody to be keeping their videos off because that would be a distraction for other students. Panel, video off कर लो यार. हाँ जी, और chat की है doubt. Sir, sometimes information about not given is provided in the passage. देखो, I am not saying that the information would not be given. I'm not saying that. You are actually taking it incorrectly. I'll give you another question to prove that there can be information given, but it is not complete information. So let's take another example. Because basically, true, false, not given, I teach through examples only. Without examples, you will not learn the concept. You already have a video on YouTube about true, false, not given, in which I have taken 10 examples and I have explained the concepts between false and not given. So a passage is saying the office can be open tomorrow. And the question is saying the office will be open tomorrow. Think about it. Okay, so those who think that this is true, they can raise their hands. Those who think this is false, they can raise their hands. Those who think this is not given, they can raise their hands. Okay. The answer would be not given because the question was asking us that it will be open. Definitely it would be open. But the passage is giving us that it can be open, it might not be open also. So if the passage is telling us, I request everybody to have their videos off, please. It would be a lot of distraction for others. Okay. So suppose you are watching a TV and on that you hear a news that there can be a curfew tomorrow. And your friend asks you that, can I open my shop tomorrow? You will not tell him that no, you cannot. Because maybe there cannot, like if there is no curfew, then your friend will be having loss. You cannot say him that, yes, you can, because there is a probability of having a curfew also. You will tell him that I do not have the complete information. Because there can be or there cannot be. So you'll have a not given scenario in that case. Same happens here. But then a lot of YouTubers, they say that when you have the word may, might, can, could in the question, your answer will be always not given. But that is also not the case. I'll just flip the things and ask you to again think about it. Actually, now the answer will be true because you have a definite information that it will be open tomorrow. So there are chances also of it to be open tomorrow. Like if on a news channel you are listening that there will be a curfew and your friend asks, is there any possibility that I can open? You will say no, because definitely there is a curfew. But if you will say there will not be any curfew and he asks that, is there any chances that I can open my shop? You will say yes. Because in this scenario, you have the complete information. So if the passage is providing you the complete information, you can go for true or false. If the passage is not giving you surety, or it is not actually giving you all the elements you are looking for, it would be not given. The basic difference between false and not given is also that false means contradiction and not given means different. There is a difference between different and contradiction. Like how? Suppose you say that out of the 7 colors, green is one of them, and the other person is saying out of the 7 color is blue one of them. So it is not a contradiction between blue and green. Both can be present, and maybe the blue is also not there. So that is something different asked. Like in Patiala and Ludhiana, there was not a, you'll say, contradiction. They were talking about two different things. Having a bomb blast in Patiala is different. Having a bomb blast in Ludhiana is different. So they were asking about two different things, and that is not a contradiction. So it would be not given. Different is equal to not given. Contradiction, opposite, is false. Okay. So I'll not talk much about this because we are not doing a true false not given class. We are actually having the general reading class, right? So apart from this, you have fill in the blanks. For fill in the blanks, I believe that the best technique is to have hypothetical answers. Hypothetical answer is that give an answer from your own end. अपने वालों ही कह दो कि आंसर होगा, and later you will have more curiosity to know that whether you got it correct or not. It would be easier to remember a blank in this way than to remember the keywords from the blank. I'll show you something. Advantages of aluminium screw caps do not affect the dash of the bottle contents. So I can say do not affect the most of the bottle contents, or do not affect the something like, I can add some word like most strike to me. So then I'll go to the passage. I'll have an image of a aluminium screw cap not affecting most of the bottle caps. And with that image, it would be easier to read and compare. On the other hand, if I have not created this image in my head, and if I have taken do not affect the, and I'm just looking at the synonyms of the word effect, and I'm just looking at the synonyms of the word bottle contents, then maybe they would have given it into 2-3 sentences. And I would not be able to understand those 2-3 sentences, and I would not be able to get the answer. The same thing I apply in listening also. Like in listening, just a second. In listening also, in the first and last section, we usually get fill in the blanks. So in town center, opening ceremony in town center starting at, I'll write from myself only before the audio will come 11 a.m. Now, instead of that, if they say 8:30 a.m., I'll just cut it and I'll write it on the top. But if I would not have written 11 a.m., then I'll be reading this sentence again and again, which would take my concentration away from the audio and leave me more puzzled, and there will be more chances of not listening to the audio clearly. So that is why I say that in fill in the blanks, the best techniques to have is hypothetical answers. Just give an answer from your side and then see that whether it gets correct or not. Okay. This have worked for me a number of times. Like I have improved my score from 7.5 to 9 in listening. So I found that having hypothetical answers increases your curiosity to be in that place and to know the answers. And curiosity matters the most because it affects your concentration. And concentration is like the best thing which you can have to have higher score. Okay. So we have talked about the second question also. Fill in the blanks. The blanks can be either in a passage form or a table form, a diagram form, a flowchart form. There can be different forms in which the blanks are present. But basically, the blanks are also in sequence. The first blank's answer will come first, the second blank's answer will come later. The only exception to this rule is when the blanks are in a passage form and the blanks belong to the same sentence. I'll show you that. Maybe I'll get somewhere. Yes. So here, the answer number 35 and 36 are in the same sentence. So 36 can come before 35. Otherwise, when they are in different sentences, 33, 34, they'll be always in sequence. So you should be worried about only the first blank. And when you find it, then you should read for the next blank. So in blanks also, you can read one question in advance and then you can go to the passage. The third thing is MCQs, and they have also the same technique. But I would not be spending much time here because already it's 9 and we have a lot of things to cover in reading. So these 3 questions follow sequence. And I'll explain what I mean by sequence. So suppose in this passage, Tourism New Zealand website, we have 2 types of questions, fill in the blanks and true false. To read this passage effectively, the first step is that we start reading from the top of the passage and get some idea about the passage and build curiosity in ourselves to read the passage. See, there are 2 types of students. One who will be picking a passage and who will be telling him, oh, inna jada, ye wo page kuch flip karke shortcut maar liye. Okay? So the person who would not be interested in reading from the beginning. And the other person who will say that I'll come to know about New Zealand. I'll come to know about website. So I'll get some information from this. This is interesting. So who you think would be getting higher score? Any doubt about this? Any doubt? So why you want to be the first person? Like a lot of people remain as the first person only, who always when they pick reading, they do not want to do it. So you have to change it because you know that it will change your score. So in the beginning only, you should put yourself some questions that why I am reading this, what benefit it will be doing to me, and build some curiosity about it. Then you will be able to read the passage and build your capacity to read the passage. If you will not build this capacity, in the real exam, you will be suffering a lot because at that time, there will be pressure also, there will be stress also. And if you do not have the habit of reading passage, there the words will start flying in front of your eyes. So start building that capacity to sit and read. ਹੁਣ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਲੜਨਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 50 ਕਿਲੋ ਦਾ weight ਚੱਕਣਾ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ 12 ਰੈਪਸ ਮਾਰਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ ਇੱਕ ਰੈਪ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈ ਲੈਣੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਪੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਵਾਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ 12 ਰੈਪ ਵੱਜ ਜਾਣੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਟ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਉਲਟ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ 5 kgs ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਬਟ 12 ਰੈਪ ਮਾਰੀ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਲੋ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ 50 kg ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ 12 ਰੈਪ ਮਾਰੀ ਗਏ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੱਜ ਜਾਣੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਕੰਸਿਸਟੈਂਟਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਤੇ ਐਕੂਰੇਸੀ ਲਈ ਵਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਐਕੂਰੇਸੀ ਲਈ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਾਰਟਕਟਸ ਤੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਕੂਰੇਸੀ ਮੇਨਟੇਨ ਹੋਏਗੀ So the first step is to read from the top and read for 3-4 sentences till the point you get an idea. You can also read the first sentence of the next 1 or 2 paragraphs to just be aware that what would be coming in the next paragraph so that if I'm reading a question, I would be knowing that would it be possible in the next paragraph or would it be in this question, in this paragraph. Okay, like here they talk about only New Zealand and tourism and here they talk about the website. So the question related to website, the websites aimed to provide ready-made itineraries, it is in the second paragraph. So if I have a little idea about it, I would not pay a lot of attention to the 8th question while I am reading the first paragraph. So I have an idea hona bhi better hoga. Now, what I'll be doing here, I'll read this first paragraph. The best thing is that you read one paragraph, first paragraph, then you go to the questions. Like you go to the question and you read the first question, have a hypothetical answer, read 8th question, have the possibilities in your head, how it can be false, how it can be not even. Then come back to this paragraph. Maybe you will find the 8th question somewhere, mark it, write that question's answer, go for the 9th question, and maybe you will not find the ninth and first, then read the next paragraph. Where it went. Okay. Then read the next paragraph by having the ninth and first question in your mind. Maybe you will find the ninth, then answer it and read the 10th question. Then maybe you will find the first, then answer it and read the second. So side by side, you'll be reading second, then whenever you'll find second, then third, then fourth, then fifth, then sixth. Similarly, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and you'll be reading the paragraph also in one go. So this would increase your accuracy. Whereas the wrong techniques are sometimes students only read paragraph firstly for true false, and then they read the same paragraph for fill in the blanks, because of which their more time is consumed. But time is not a problem. Actually, your energy is gone. So when your energy is gone in the first passage only, in the third passage, you will be doing a lot of guesswork. And if your time is also gone and you have only 15 minutes in the third passage, then also you'll be doing guesswork. And the Cambridge is so clever that they ensure that with guessworks, you do not get at least 40% questions also correct. So you have to read. So this is the technique for sequential questions, where you will read one question, then come to the paragraph, then read next question, then come to the paragraph, third question. But you will read in a sequence for the paragraph also, because that will give you clarity. Instead of this, if you will just skip the first paragraph and say that there is no answer in this paragraph, I'll jump to the next paragraph, the chances are that you will have less understanding about the whole passage, and it will affect your score. Even the last paragraph is important. See, the reason why I started getting 8.5 in reading and why I was getting 6.5 was the reason that when I was getting 6.5, my main purpose was to get answers. When I got 8.5, I was enjoying the passage. And even after the exam, if somebody gives me a question paper to solve, I will be enjoying it. But on the other hand, there are students who do not want to solve a question paper after the exam. That would be the case. Like, if after your exam I tell you to solve a reading, would you be doing it? No, because you find it to be waste, but I find it to be useful. Okay. So if you do not want to solve the practice test after the exam, it means that in the exam also you do not want to solve it. So if in the exam you do not want to solve it, so will you get the score? Because there is pressure also on your head, which will be continuously telling you that you have to run, you have to run. So that is the reason why people do not get high score. They do not like the thing. And I'll tell you how to increase your interest also, but firstly, let's complete the techniques. Because I have been very hard with myself to improve my score. Like, I have made myself sit for hours, even when after every 5 minutes I was getting an urge to get up and do something else. So this is about true false, fill in the blanks, and MCQs. Now I'll talk about headings and matching. Those are the other two types of questions. In headings and matching, the interesting thing to note is that always in Cambridge practice tests and the real exam also, the questions of headings are given before the passage. They're always given before, and rest of the questions are given at the end. Why this pattern is followed? Because the people who are setting the exam, they want that you should read these options, mark the keywords, and when you go to the paragraph, you should be concerned about these keywords only, and you should not be getting the knowledge of the paragraph. And then they will put traps accordingly that these words will be repeated in the paragraph, and you will forget about the right answer or the meaning of the paragraph, and you will fall in the trap and you will tick that option. That is how they set the trap of headings. But if instead of this, you read the paragraph from your own without knowing the option, you understand it, you get the sense of it, you get an image of it. And then you go to the options. 80% of the options will be very vague and you will not be even worried about them, which means that your speed will be increased. Because earlier you were again and again checking for those options only. Second, your accuracy will improve because you have less confusion and you know which option you are looking for. But still, there will be two options which will be very close to each other, and their words are like both sound correct, but there will be one or two words incorrect in one of the options, which makes it incorrect. So you will have to be very critical there. So the right technique for headings is to read the paragraph first, have the image that what the author wants to say, then come back to the options and apply the elimination method. In the last two options, just take them out of the rest of the options and then check them very closely, word by word. That is how you will get the headings correct. So in case of headings and matching, the story is different. You should not be reading the questions first. You should be reading the paragraph first. Actually, they have a good mix of everything. And that is how they are checking your reading. So those who have habit of reading the questions first, they'll be facing difficulty in heading and matching. Those who have the habit of reading paragraph first, they'll be facing difficulty in true-false MCQs. So that is how they have included all types of traps to ensure that you are good at reading. Because if they'll not have these traps, then everybody will be passing, and then no test would be remaining between people. So suppose you get headings, matching, and fill in the blanks together. Now, you will read the first paragraph, go to the fill in the blanks, have a hypothetical answer for 24, then see that whether that answer was there in the first paragraph or not. If that answer was there, you'll mark it, go for 25, see that whether your hypothetical answer is in first paragraph or not. If that is not there, then you will move to the second question type, matching. And by knowing what has been said in the first paragraph, you will see which of these statements match. The detailed technique about matching, true, false, fill in the blanks, MCQs, and you can say headings would be covered in our coming weeks. Because if it would have been possible to teach everything in 3 hours, then I would not be wasting my regularly 3 hours on group classes, right? I would be enjoying them. But actually it requires a lot of concepts. So even after knowing this basic technique, you'll not get 100% accuracy. You'll get that after you know a lot more than that. You know about the traps. And then in the end, after reading the first paragraph only, you will go to the headings and eliminate. Why I have kept headings at the end? Because by that time, you would have better idea of the paragraph. And then you will be able to eliminate it. And once the first paragraph is over, then you will come back to the fill in the blank, read the 25th fill in the blank again, and start reading from here. Wherever you get 25th, you will answer it. You will read 26th. Wherever you get 26th, you will answer it. And when the paragraph will be over, you will go for matching. When the matching is over, then you will go for heading. This way, what you are doing is you are saving yourself from rereading, from reading the paragraph again and again, which is the actual reason of wastage of time and energy in reading. A lot of people ask how I learn time management in reading. The basic thing is that you should avoid rereading and your time will be managed. If you are reading again and again, you will not be able to do it in 1 hour. The rereading is the reason for poor time management. Another thing is that there are some teachers who say that you should always solve the reading in 55 minutes or 52 minutes. The reason is that in the exam, you'll have pressure and you'll not be able to do it in the same time as you're doing in the practice. So you should do it in 55 minutes. I have heard it from so many people. But the problem with this is that a person who is a beginner, if he starts doing it in 55 minutes, he'll never achieve accuracy. He'll never know that how to get an answer. And he'll always be in the trap of shortcuts. it would be same as I am a gym trainer and I have a 50 kg with me, and I start telling somebody who is joining for the first day, start lifting 50 kg. Now he does not have the capacity, his muscles have not been built, his capacity will rise day by day. Then doing it in 55 minutes makes no sense. I had one of the trainers with us who, when she came in the starting days, for the first 15-20 days, she was able to read only one passage in 1 hour. One passage in 1 hour. But then I never asked her to increase her speed. I asked her to increase her accuracy first. She increased her accuracy. Then she also started including the second paragraph. I told her that you should complete all 3 passages, even if it takes 3 hours to you, so that you know that how it feels like to complete 3 passages. So she started doing it. Then before her exam, I told her 15 days before her exam that now you should time yourself. She started timing herself. She got 7 in reading, and now she takes doubts of the students. So your muscles will build gradually as your body muscles build. Similarly, your brain muscles will be built. It would not be that on day 1 you should be doing the same thing which you want to do on the last day. Then there will be no growth, right? So take it easy. Drive it in the first gear. Do not drive it in the 5th gear on the day 1, because then you will meet an accident. Accident is depression, which a lot of students get from IELTS. Demotivation, then slowly frustration, and then depression. That is because why we get demotivation. It is not that the goal was hard. It was because our expectation was unrealistic. We expected to do something in easier way than it demands, because we thought that we'll be able to do IELTS in 10 days or 15 days or something like that. That's an unrealistic thought. Or we were thinking that with shortcuts, without sitting for hours, we'll do it. But basically, that is possible for some also who have already a good level. But if you want to increase your level, you have to go through the hard journey. I don't say that people cannot do it in 15 days. We have examples of people doing it 15 days, but they were having a good level. It is not like this is the goal, but the start line for some is this, for some is this, for some is this. So everybody wants to reach here, but your start line also matters, and your speed also matters. Speed of grasping. Some have a very good speed of grasping. Okay. But if you have a realistic goal, you will not face demotivation. Like in one day, if I'll tell myself that I have to do 15 things, and then every day I'll not be able to do those 15 things and I'll get demotivated, what is the sense in that? Instead of that, if I'll tell myself that I have to do these 4 things, and I'll complete those 4 things, and slowly I'll complete everything which I have pending, then that is a good way to set goals, right? Goals realistic ਜਿਹਾ set ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੋ, ਐ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਚ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਮਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ। ਕੋਈ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਮੇਰਾ 16 ਨੂੰ ਪੇਪਰ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਹੁਣ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਕੋਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਦਵਾਈ ਦਵਾਈ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਕੁਛ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਭਰ ਦੇਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਲਾਸਟ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ 2 ਦਿਨ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ 50 ਕਿਲੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕ ਸਕਦੇ। ਰਿਲਿਸਟਿਕ ਰਹੋ। ਉਹ ਦਿਖਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ 50 ਕਿਲੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕਿਆ ਜਾਣਾ। ਇਹ ਦਿਖਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਕੰਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। So about reading, the first thing is techniques. But knowing the techniques will just help you to avoid rereading, save your energy, increase your speed, but it will not increase your capacity to understand. ठीक है ना? So the second thing is familiarization with words. We should know the meaning, pronunciation, usage, examples, etc. of the words. But the good thing about reading is that we should be familiar with only 60-70% of the words. Even if we are not familiar with the rest of the words, we can understand from the context that what story is going on and we can answer. Like I have got 8.5, but that doesn't mean that when I was reading, or even when my students who have got 9, that doesn't mean that when they were reading, they knew each and every word. Okay? There were words on which they have to do just make an idea from the context. So familiarization about words is good thing. Whenever you find a new word, search for its meaning, search for its examples, listen to its pronunciation. Why pronunciation is important for reading? Because it increases your speed. When you can pronounce something, you can read it quickly. When you cannot pronounce it, you'll be stuck there. So listen to the pronunciation also and get familiar to the words. But the concept which you have to also remember is that you cannot learn more than one word in a day if you're doing it consistently for months. Like in 2 months, you'll be able to learn 60 words. You'll not be able to learn 300 words. If you actually want to be familiar with the word, if you just want to know that this is synonym of this is synonym of that, that is other case. But that is not good familiarization with the word. Third thing which you need to work on is on your grammar. So now, if you know about the connectors, the punctuation marks, and the types of sentences, passive, active, rephrasing, then your understanding will be automatically higher. Okay? But grammar is easier to learn than vocabulary. Grammar can be learned in, you can say, 3 months. Or if you are good at it already, it can be learned in 1 month also. Like if you do not have that problem of related to verbs, then you can learn it in 1 month also. But if you are having problems with tenses, it may take up to 3 months. But why people do not learn grammar in so much time, even when they give to the institutes? The reason is the wrong approach of teaching grammar. They start with the tenses, which have like 12 rules according to 12 blocks. And they say that with is, you will be having ing. So they say he is playing. So with is, you have ing. But we also have he is a player and cricket is played by him. So we'll also have third form, a direct noun, ing. And then we have modals also. He can be a player, he could be a player. So the grammar should not be taught in this way, that we start with the rules. It should start with familiarization with the sentence types. Like every sentence has a subject and a predicate. This is how grammar is taught in foreign schools. They start with subject and predicate. In ours, they start with tenses. So in subject, they tell that whatever we are talking about in a sentence is the subject, and whatever action he is performing or whatever state of being he is in is the predicate about it. Like we are talking about he is playing. So he is performing an action. He is a player. So he is something. Cricket, so we are talking about cricket, is played by him. So some action is being performed on cricket. So like that, firstly, if they'll get you familiar with the sentences, and then they will start talking about the rules with a common table, teaching active sentence along with the passive sentence only. Then there will be less confusion. But if they will teach you active, and firstly your mind will be set on active, then you will start learning passive. Your mind will face difficulty in switching. And it is not the reason that people are poor at grammar. It is that the teachers who are teaching grammar, they are really having outdated techniques or the technique of their own. See, the teacher did not had a problem in tenses, but he is teaching tenses. He or she will never knew that how the students will be facing this problem. Right? They'll just teach from their own level. That is why we have our grammar sessions also included in our group classes. And you will get the whole content if you have enrolled in the Google Drive format. In this, we have the folders for writing also, where I have explained every type of essay in detail, have given the sample answers for the essays, same for task one. And we have videos on grammar also. But it does not take a lot of time. There are only 8-9 videos of grammar, which covers everything. Like the first one talks about sentence formation. The second one talks about tenses, like that. And the most important video is about connectors and punctuation marks related with them. When to put a comma, when to put a semicolon, when to put a colon, hyphen, and all these things. They are easy to learn. But actually, nobody has told them in an easier way. That is why they were hard to learn. Definitely. Like, I'll show you when I'll be talking about writing that how punctuation marks matter there. They have a band descriptor in which they say that if you have a good hold on grammar and punctuation marks, so they have separately told about grammar and punctuation marks. They have not included punctuation marks in the grammar. So they say that if you have a good control on grammar and punctuation marks, then you will get 7. So the people who do not use punctuation marks, they are also sometimes left from 7 because of that. Or those who are incorrectly using them, just putting commas wherever they wish to. But actually the commas have a significance. They either make something dependent on the previous sentence, or they are used along with the connectors. So this conjunctions and punctuations video is really important, where I'll be using a table and I'll be showing you that how we can use replacements of and, like I like tea and coffee. I like not only tea but also coffee. I like tea along with coffee. I like tea as well as coffee. I like tea besides coffee. I like tea, moreover, I like coffee. So we have 10, 12 replacements of every connector. Like same for but. He's intelligent, but he failed. Although he's intelligent, but he failed. Despite being intelligent, he failed. He is intelligent, however, he failed. He is intelligent, whereas he failed. So we have so many replacements. And knowing these replacements improves your command on the language. Because if you have used one connector, you can quickly change the connector and use the next one in the next contrast. So learning about grammar would be good, but learning it correctly. But the most important thing about reading, which most of the students ignore, is the stamina to read. Stamina. What do we mean by that? If you want to run for 400 meters, are you able to run it in one go? If you want to run in 800 meters, are you able to run it? So the same stamina is there when we try to interpret something from the text also. Usually when the students start academic reading, they have a stamina of 10 minutes. After 10 minutes only, they want to run from it and start applying some shortcuts. Even after 1 month or 2 months, students have a stamina of 30 minutes. For the first 30 minutes, they'll have concentration. They'll understand each and everything. For the next 30 minutes, they'll be applying shortcuts. They'll be flipping pages. They'll be just trying to run from it because they have lost their stamina. So how stamina can be built? Can anybody tell me that if you are building the stamina of running, how you build it? Okay, good answer. By practice, dedication, You should be enjoying it. No, we do not enjoy the things when we build stamina. I'll just tell you in one Punjabi word, एक जिद होनी चाहिए. Just need that जिद. ठीक है ना? जिद्दी बनो. जिद्दी बनो कि मैं बैठे रहना. Like when I was practicing reading, I didn't have the stamina to even read one passage. In 2014, I have passed from a CBSE school. My education from nursery to 12th was from a CBSE school. I was one of the toppers only, but it was not taught how to build stamina. It was not taught the differences between grammar. Like in school, I did not learn that with the did we do not use the second form. We use the first form. And in school, I did not learn the difference between do and does. In school, it was not. But I learned it from myself. Now I'm talking about stamina. So I was having very poor stamina. What I used to do is that I was sitting in a PG. I did not wanted to go back home. I was in an industrial training and there was nothing to do in that industrial training. So I used to sit in my PG and play games for the whole day on my phone. And then luckily my room was with a person who is very much studious. And he told him that why you do not go to the IELTS center where you have enrolled yourself. I say that I have enrolled in having full day batch, but after a few days, I find it that it is being very repetitive. They are not telling anything. Same thing is going on. The morning class, they actually give it well, but in the evening class, they have nothing. They just repeat it. So for 8 hours, I cannot sit there. So he said that why don't you do anything, like why you don't go back to home? I said I don't want to go do that also. I have got a chance to be outside my home after so long. I just want to be here. So he just said that why you don't go with me to the library? Okay, I'll try. What I'll find there? He did not told that you will find books. He said that you can find comics. I said, okay, this would be good. I'll go there. So I went there. I used to read comics by looking at the pictures. Then when I started reading some books also, I used to put my phone inside and play games. But slowly and steadily, I started feeling the guilt that everybody is sitting here and preparing so with a hard dedication, and I am the guy who's not doing anything. So the person who was telling me about the things that you should read, he told that just turn off your phone and put it down. So I started checking my phone less and I started reading books. I started finding some novels first, interesting story novels, and used to read them for half and then leave them. Then I started building my capacity and I started reading. Then the day came when I used to go there at 8 a.m. and leave at 6 p.m. And after 6 p.m. also I wanted to be there because I started getting so much learning, so much interest that my life is increasing. Like kind of, I'm having more financial knowledge. I'm having more knowledge of health. I'm having more knowledge of relationships. I'm having better knowledge. I'm being better than past. So those books became my friend. And I got the score of 6.5 in reading. Not much. Then for, you can say, after 3 years, because I had dropped my idea of going on academic because of some influences, I can call them directly now that they were wrong influences. Because if I would have gone on academic, I had got admission in Babson College in USA, and I would have been giving pitches to Silicon Valley's angel investors. That would have been different life. But I just dropped it after getting the interview cleared also, after so much efforts. So after 3 years, I decided to give GT exam. Without any preparation, I went to the exam and I got 6.5 in reading again. Then after 6 months, I managed to take some leave from my work. And for 1 month, I daily used to solve 2 readings. And I got 7, but not very much high score, because I thought that Maybe last time my score was 33, now it is 34. So I got from 6.5 to 7. It's not a big difference. But then I again started going to library. By this time, I had worked on my grammar also in these 3 years. So I had a better understanding of the things because I had been in the corporate world also. So I had more vocabulary also. Now I solved only one reading before the exam, and I gave my exam in September, which was 3 months away, and I got 8.5. From this experience, I learned that it is not the practice tests which help us to improve. It is changing our level which helps us to improve. Because a practice test is not preparation, it's a test. And a test just tells you where is your level. A test is taken to know where is our level. But what is happening in the whole IELTS world? To keep the students busy, they are regularly giving practice tests so that they remain seated and they have a sense of achievement that we are doing something daily. But nothing is changing. You're not getting new grammar, you're not getting more stamina, you're not getting more understanding, nothing is changing. So level is there only. And basically the practice test difficulty is changing because of which your score is changing. Or maybe your concentration level is changing. Some day your mood is good, some days your mood is bad. Is your level changing? So then another student came to me. He said that he was having 5.5 in reading, 5.5 in speaking, 5.5 in writing, and 6 in listening. And he has already applied for a Canadian university, and the fees has been filled. He has only 1 month to prepare. He was not from a very well-off family. And he said that I cannot afford to lose all this money, and because we have borrowed from somewhere. And he said that it is very important for me to clear this exam. I said that, he said, I can do any hard work which you'll say. And that is the pet line of every student. Pet line of every student, without knowing the meaning of hard work, they say, we will do any hard work which we'll say. ठीक है ਐਵੇਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਰਡ ਵਰਕ ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਰਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ I said that okay, do one thing, till 2 o'clock you can finish your modules, but after 2 o'clock till 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock you should read these novels. Take these novels and start reading them without getting up from this chair. This is how I did for myself. I used to sit in a room, taking out all the distractions, having a clock in front of me. And after 30 minutes, I was like, I should eat something. But I then used to tell them myself, no, sit. Then after 45 minutes, somebody is calling me, no, sit. I have to wash my eyes, no, sit. I have to just check out what is happening outside, no, sit. Maybe it's night outside, whatever it is, sit. Sit and read. Sit for hours and read. That would build your stamina. That is how you build your stamina, because if you want to run for 400 meters and you are running for 100 meters, your stamina will not be built. You want to run for 400 meters, start running for 800 meters. So your 400 meters stamina will be automatically built. You want to run for 800 meters, start running for 1600 meters. If you now can run for 1600 meters, 800 meters would not be a problem. You can increase your speed also there. So I told this person, whose name is Amritpal, that you should sit. Then I used to leave my office at 2 o'clock for lunch. I used to see that Amritpal is sitting now. I used to come back at 6:30, and I used to again find that he's sitting now. In the starting days, I even found that he was sleeping on the book. He was trying so hard. So you can say that after 1 month, his score was from 5.5 to 8.5. And this is not a fake story. You can find a video in which he's in Canada and he's speaking that I have got from 5.5 to 8.5. And that is not because of any of my techniques, I would say. I would just say that is because he could sit. And if you are not able to sit, if you cannot hold yourself, if you want to check your phones, if you want to do something else, your priority is something else, your reading will not improve. That is the honest answer. Whenever somebody asks me on Insta also that how I can improve my reading, I just tell them, read novels in a stretch. And they do not understand it because they do not understand what hard work is. They just understand what shortcuts are, what some easy traps, easy ways are, and they want to do that. Suppose you are able, I asked Amrit that how it happened. He said that, sir, when I was doing reading before, I just used to read for questions. Now I was able to get the meaning deeply. Even I know where I made mistake and why I got 8.5 because I could have got 9. Because I was getting complete understanding. When I was reading, I was in depth involved with it for the whole time. For even more than 1 hour, I can sit. You can tell me I do not have that, like you can say, distractions now. Even if somebody is talking next to my ear, I am sitting and reading. So that capacity he built in the 1 month, and he went outside from 6.5, 5.5 in reading to 8.5 in reading, for 5.5 in speaking and writing to 6 in speaking and writing, because his main concern was reading, and somewhere 7.5 in listening also. Similarly, we have other student who has improved from 5.5 to 7 in writing in 15 days. And there is a story behind that also. But like I have helped 300 plus students in achieving their scores. So I have more than 300 stories. 300 stories of successes and rest of failures. So I know a lot of things which are happening. So if I am saying something, it has a deep meaning, always. Like a deeper meaning, which you may not understand in the first book, which you may understand in the third, fourth book. So stamina. Stamina cannot be built with newspaper, because you read newspaper for 10-15 minutes and then the story changes. Stamina cannot be built with practice tests, because you keep flipping the pages, you do not remain focused there. Stamina can be built with books and novels, because you remain focused there and you remain in the story. So if you have problem of stamina, you have to identify first by solving some reading practices. If you have problem of stamina, you should go with easy novels first, whichever are of your interest, and then go with the hard novels, means the areas which you have not read before. And then sit for at least 2 hours if you want to build a stamina of 1 hour. This will also help you in familiarization with the words, or some familiarization with the grammar also. ठीक है, मतलब हार्ड वर्क एक्सप्लेन करता था जेड़ा कि कोई कहते हैं कि कोई भी कर लूगा, बट ये करना औखा है. Next part is concentration. Now you can have stamina, but you can lack concentration. That is the story of, I'll say, one of my relatives. So we used to study together. I used to read for 2 hours and I used to get whole thing. He used to read for 8 hours. He didn't used to get anything. And that is the story of intelligent and weak students. The weak students do not have concentration. The intelligent students have concentration. It is not that the intelligent students are born intelligent. Their genes have told them some knowledge already of the world. They'll find every knowledge by after coming to this world only. But they have concentration. They observe everything by being in that situation and observing it deeply. The others are always distracted. There is one student who is reading a book and who is always checking a phone. That student wants to prepare for the exam. There is another student who's reading book, but for half of the time. Whom you think would be getting higher score? Second one, right? Because of the concentration. So in concentration, I'll give you the example that when I was giving my exam in listening, one day before my score was 6.5, next day my score was 9. The reason was that when I was having the score of 9, I was very much into the exam. I started my exam after 3 questions, the computer stopped. They made me sit on the another computer after having 5-6 minutes break. Then the question number 4 started, but first 3 questions were not there. I recalled them from my memory. I did them. I read every MCQs. There were like 20 MCQs, long MCQs. I read every one of them without having any worry that today will I be getting the score? What will be happening with me? No worries. I was just in the exam. And after the exam was over, they also gave me a chance that would you like to take this exam for free? We'll cancel this exam. I said no. And then I got 9. I learned one thing from that day because I worked on my concentration in those days. I tried meditation. I tried some focus exercises. I tried not to get distracted from everything which is happening around me and to be in the work which I'm doing right now. So because of that concentration, I'll just give you an example. Give you an example. Concentration is something like, have you heard the story of Arjun? So what he was looking at, was he looking at the fish or the eye? He was looking at the eye, not the fish. So that much concentration you need to have. You should be looking at the eye, not the fish. How this happens? Firstly, you have to reduce the tensions which are coming into your world by being involved in only the necessary things and being away from the unnecessary things. So by remaining away from the reels of Insta and all the stuff which is being thrown at you on the social media, you can reduce your distractions. Because if you listen to songs, they can be disturbing in your exam. And by releasing whatever has entered. Now, whatever has entered, negative thoughts and all, you should try meditation. Be at a silent place. Breathe as much deeply as you can and exhale as slowly as you can. Do it for 10-15 times and then remain seated there for half an hour and start decluttering your brain. Start telling your brain not to worry about this, not to worry about that, just worry about what you have to do. Your brain's negativity will be gone. After that, if you enter in a speaking session also, you'll be very clear what you want to speak. If you enter a listening also, you'll be able to focus. Just think like this. One person is filled with thoughts and doing listening. Another person, no thoughts, just the audio coming inside the brain and doing listening. Who will be getting the higher score? The second one. So can any techniques help in this? Like if a teacher says you mark the MCQs in this way, do the diagram in this way, no, nothing is required. Just concentration is required. So concentration is such a strong tool, I will say. If you have it, your everything will start improving because you will even start listening to me with full concentration. Otherwise, your concentration will not be here. Okay. See, I deliver the same lecture to everyone. I have delivered these lectures for more than 30 times in past. The 3-week session which we give, we repeat it. For more than 30 times I have done it. Every time I have some students in front of me. There are one type of students who do not even appear for their exam because they never wanted to do it. They never had it on their priority list. They had other things prior to this. There are second type of students who fail because when they were attending the class, they were not listening. And they were having their own thoughts that we'll apply this only. Whatever he's telling, it is not applicable. He's saying that read the passage, our time will be gone. It is not applicable. I'll not read. And then they fail. There are third type of students who pass, just pass, whatever they wanted. And there are fourth type of students who show extraordinary improvement. The lecture is same for everyone. It is how they perceive it. It is how their concentration is. Right? So, can you control your brain or not? That matters. If you are having weak brain, which is distracted by anybody entering from a door or anything happening outside, then nothing can help. Like, see, right now I am speaking. I just ask you to concentrate on these fans, which are here in the class. Just listen to their noise. I'm speaking so loudly, but then also these fans can be a distraction and you can miss my sentences. So it doesn't mean that our ears just listen to whatever is in loud mode. They can get distracted by the slightest noise also. So in reading, when you're doing reading in the exam or when you're doing listening in the exam, you can be distracted by anything. But if you have control over distractions, you'll be having concentration. ठीक है? Concentration build भी करनी चाहिए है. ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ brain activities ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਕੁਝ concentration ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ. ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਲਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੱਸਾਂਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਲੰਬਾ ਚਲਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ. Chalo. So with these 5 things, some of the times students ask me, sir, I am applying your techniques. Why I am not getting score? Maybe you do not have stamina. Maybe you do not have concentration. Maybe you do not know grammar. There can be other reasons also. How only techniques will help. But then it doesn't mean that techniques fail. Techniques also help. They play their role. They reduce rereading. But other things also matter. Do not start blindly following the techniques. Work on your brain capacity. Note these things down and evaluate yourself on these things. Work on these things. ठीक है, तां थोड़ी improvement होएगी. ठीक है. Let's move to the next section from reading to something else. I'll take 5 minutes break here and then we'll start because I know that you will be tired. I have a capacity to continue for 4 hours also, but I know that you are the beginners. So I'll take a 5 minutes break. If anybody has any doubts, they may ask. No, no difference. Yes, no, not given, and true, false, not given. Ask for the same technique. And basically, fill in the blanks in every format can be solved with the same technique, which I'll be telling you in future classes. I've just told about hypothetical answer, but then there is a technique also to solve it. In question answers, those are like the fill in the blanks types only, because there also they ask you to write no more than 2 words or no more than 3 words. So the technique would be same as fill in the blanks. Just assume it like a question mark, then a blank. These things actually we cover in detail when we talk about fill in the blanks. The thing about articles is that whenever there is a sentence ending with a full stop, we must take care of the articles. And whenever it is in flowchart form, table form, picture form, we can ignore the articles because it is not a sentence. So grammar matters when it is a sentence. And I'll be talking about articles and all in our future classes because we are already shooting the time above. I just went into the flow and let the time pass, but there are other things also which need to be covered. So as the schedule has shifted, it ended somewhere. Sorry, structure of group classes. I'll just say that you can call our reception number to know about this, because we do not have the time for this now. You can call at this number or WhatsApp at this and ask about the schedule which will be followed in the future classes. Like today itself, from 7 to 9 p.m., we'll be having an essay techniques class on discuss both and agree disagree. So if you do not want to miss this class, you should get your enrollment done, one, because then you'll be getting your link for the online class, or you can attend it in offline mode also. You can come again. Second is that you should contact at this number to know about the timetable, like future timetables also you can ask from this number. Like when is which class? I think here we have the timetable. I'm not sure which one is the latest one. We had some changes in the timetable. So latest one you will get from the number only. Otherwise, I'll just show you the timetable, what I mean by the timetable. It has been shifted. The classes have been shifted now to Sunday also. Earlier, they were starting on Mondays only. And in the morning, like we do the essay planning techniques, reading techniques, listening techniques from 8 to 8:45 a.m. This is the class time. If you miss any of these classes, the recording is available in the Google Drive. And in the evening, we talk about essays. Like on one day, I explain the techniques. On next day, I explain the grammar which will be used in that. The third day, I'll write an essay live and I plan a number of essays. And then we have academic task 1 or GT task 1 class also on some other day. So like this, on 4 days in a week, in the evening and in the morning, we have some group classes which are delivered by me. Apart from that, we have doubts classes and other classes also going on, which you may attend if you have doubts. Otherwise, attending my classes would also be sufficient. And you will get recordings of everything. To know more about the schedule, please consult them, because otherwise we'll shoot the time to more than 11:30. Let's see what students have to say. So, okay, they are saying that please explain the point number 1, techniques again. Actually, there is no much time to explain anything again. So you would be getting this video maybe in the live sessions of the YouTube also. You can watch from there again. Otherwise, you do not understand everything in the first go, right? You'll attend the future classes. You'll be able to relate with the past things. Then you'll be learning. It's not that you just attend something once and you get perfect at it. Novel ਦਾ ਨੇਮ ਦੱਸੋ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੀ, ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਚੱਕ ਲਓ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਪਸੰਦ ਦੀ। ਸਿੰਪਲ ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਸਾਈਕੋਲੋਜੀ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਸੰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਣੀਆਂ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਮਾਂਟਿਕ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਓ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ weight ਚੱਕਦਾ 50 ਕਿਲੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ 5 ਕਿਲੋ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕਰ ਲਓ, ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਉਨੇ ਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਚੱਕ ਲਿਓ। Is there some difference in true, false or not given? नहीं हैगा। Heading स्पष्ट दोस्तों कोई नहीं। Writing task 2 ਤੇ ਧਿਆਨ ਨੇ ਆਪਾਂ। Is it necessary to cover all 4 modules regularly by studying self-study? This is a good question. कि daily 4 module करने चाहिए हैं कि नहीं? Module नहीं होंगे, वैसे वो sections होंगे। Module तो academic तो GT होंगे। आज तक मतलब गलती चल रही है, ठीक है। क्योंकि जो तुम कैम्ब्रिज की बुक खोल के देखोगे ना, they call them sections and they call academic and GT as modules. बट फिर भी लोगों ने कंपनी बना ली 4 मॉड्यूल्स के नाम से, ठीक है। चलो कोई क्वेश्चन इज कि शुड बी सॉल्व ऑल 4 सेक्शंस डेली। फ्रॉम माय एक्सपीरियंस आई वुड से दैट द tests in which I saw improvement from my previous exams were those tests when I used to solve only 1 or 2 sections in a day. Only 1 or 2. Like, I used to solve 3 readings in a week. But after solving every reading, I used to analyze why I'm getting mistakes, what has to be done in this. I used to watch videos related to it. I used to do some work. I used to learn the grammar and all. And then I used to do the next reading. That is how improvement happens. So it is like practice. After practice, you analyze your mistakes, and then you consult somebody experienced, and then you learn. That is how improvement happens. Improvement does not happen if you keep on practicing and keep on analyzing only and then again practicing. But you do not consult anybody and you do not learn something. ठीक है, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੈਪ ਰੂਪ ਲਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਵਧੀਆ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਰੈਪ ਰੂਪ ਲਗਾਉਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਪਰ ਡਾਈਟ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ। ਡਾਈਟ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਬੋਡੀ ਬਣ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬਣ ਜਾਏਗੀ? ਉਹੀ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਬੋਡੀ, ਲਾਈ ਚਲੋ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜੀ, ठीक है। So main thing which students are missing is learning, and I'll tell you honestly that I have spent more hours on learning than practice. Like if I used to spend 2 hours on practice, I used to spend 3 hours on learning. I used to read essays. Till date, I would have checked 10,000 essays of students because I used to check 15 essays in a day. I used to leave at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. from my institute, and I used to check 20 essays in a day, 25. So if I was checking 15 essays also in 300 days, it becomes 4,500, and in 2 years it becomes 9,000. Then I reduced my capacity to check essays because it was disturbing my mental peace. I started getting depression by doing the same thing. It was very monotonous, so I needed a break. So now till now I would have checked 10,000 essays. But I would say that the main thing which I find as a flaw in writing of students is that they just want to write. They do not want to read. Every day they will get a new question, they'll start writing on it, write it, get it checked, leave it. Write another question, write it, leave it. But they are not actually reading somebody else's stuff. But on the other hand, what I used to do, I used to, like when I got from 7 to 7.5 jump, I read more than 100 essays. I wrote one single essay. I read more than 100. In the exam, I even was not sure about my time management. I managed it and I got 7.5. The reason was I was filled with ideas. On the other hand, people just want to do themselves. That would not help, right? So leave time for learning. Another golden thing which I would like to say, everybody has 24 hours in a day. Still, some people end up poor and some people end up rich, starting from the same point. It is because how you use those 24 hours. Same thing applies to IELTS. Everybody have the same thing, but it is how they use it. Those who spend it on learning, they improve. Those who spend it only on practice, they do not go anywhere. क्योंकि प्रैक्टिस का मतलब ये होता है कि कुछ आ गया तो हम उन्होंने अजमा के देख लिया, ये नहीं होता कि अजमाई चलो बस। मतलब पता नहीं ये आइल्स इंडस्ट्री ने नास ही मारता जिस हिसाब नाल चलदी है। मैं ना जो मेरा सब तो पहला पढ़ाना शुरू किया सीगा, मैं स्टूडेंट्स को कहना मेरे लेक्चर सुनो तो मेरी गल्लां सुनो तो मेरे ऐसे पढ़ो तो नॉवल पढ़ो, ये करो वो करो, प्रैक्टिस करने की इन्नी लोड़ नहीं हैगी। लोगों ने ना खिच खिच के मैनू ही बदलता नहीं सर थोड़े तो चारों मॉड्यूल एक दिन च हुंदे नहीं। मैं कहा कर लो चारों मॉड्यूल, वही कर लो जो तुसी करते आ रहे हो, ठीक है ना, फिर उत्थे ही रहो। क्योंकि मैनू पता है कि प्रैक्टिस कुछ सिखा थोड़ी देगी। जो तुसी 1 घंटे के लेक्चर सुन सकते हो, तुसी 10 ऐसे लिख के नहीं सीख सकते, ठीक है, तो टाइम कितने वेस्ट हो रहे। चलो, let's start with the writing techniques. We are already above the schedule. I'll require some more time here. Listening ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਅੱਜ, listening will cover in some other class, ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ cover ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਡਿਮਾਂਡਸ ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਅਨਰੀਅਲਿਸਟਿਕ ਲੱਗਦੀਆਂ, ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਇਹ ਕੀ ਮੰਗ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ। ਮੈਂ 7 ਸਾਲ ਲਾਤੇ ਆਇਲਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, 12 ਵਾਰ ਪੇਪਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ, 250 300 ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਸ ਕਰਾਤਾ, ਇੰਪਰੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਾਤੀ, ਤੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ। ਲਾਈਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਸਟ ਸਾਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਇਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੇ ਮਾਸਟਰੀ ਘੋਟਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਕਈ ਜਣੇ। ਚਲੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ। एक क्वेश्चन ले लेने, sir can you please suggest a good timetable for practicing according to you, like how to manage all the things, because whenever I am doing reading I am worried about writing, and whenever doing writing tensed about speaking, like how to divide the time। देखो पहली गल तो टाइम ਨੂੰ मैनेज ਕਰਨ ਲਈ टाइम मैनेजमेंट ਦੀਆਂ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ YouTube ਤੇ, ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਟੂਲਸ, ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਟਿਪਸ, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ, ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਹੁਣ ਟਾਈਮ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਨੇਜ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ to know how much time you have। ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਚੋਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਲੈਣ ਚੱਲੇ ਹੋ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਜੇਬ 'ਚ। ਹਰੇਕ ਕੋਲੇ ਸੇਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ 8 ਘੰਟੇ ਦੀ ਜੌਬ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਮਦਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਪੀਪਲ ਹੈਵ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਟਾਈਮਸ। ਫ੍ਰੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨਾ, ਬਟ ਬੀ ਵੈਰੀ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਸੇ straightforward or type of blunt when you are checking this। ਐ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਕੱਟੋ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ, ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੋਲ। ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਐ ਥੋੜੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ 2 ਘੰਟੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਹੀ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਬਟ ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ। ਸੋ ਲਾਈਕ that you will be able to find 3-4 hours ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦਾ ਜੀ ਟਾਈਮ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਲਤੂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੇ ਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। then come start questioning yourself what things you need to do। now suppose your speaking is already 7.5, in 3 exams you have got 7.5, why you are taking daily time on speaking। दूसरी चीज तो इंप्रूव नहीं हो रही, ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ टाइम नहीं बच रहा, ਉਹੀ ਕਰੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ जो ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, दूसरी चीज ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ। ठीक है, ਇਹ देखो कि प्रायोरिटी किस चीज ਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ग्रामर ਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, कंसंट्रेशन ਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, स्टैमिना ਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। what is your priority, where you are lagging, and then fix your blocks in the day, that at this time I'll be doing this thing, at this time I'll be doing this thing। You know, time blocking technique, which is followed by Elon Musk, Bill Gates and all, because they also have 24 hours, but they have to run so many companies, so they cannot afford talking with people like me। Okay? They'll just make their managers do that, and they'll think about what they have to do, you know। so ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਇੋਰਟੀ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਐ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਰੋਜ਼ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਚੈਨਲ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਦੇਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਏ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੋਕੀ ਮੇਲਾਂ ਮੂਲਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਉਹ ਦੱਸੋ, ਪਰ ਹਰੇਕ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। So time blocking technique. And then after doing all this thing, be realistic. Be realistic, I mean, do not expect yourself to be working for 12 hours. Expect to have some breaks, expect to have some rest, expect to have some socialization, and have some exercise also. Because if your body will move, your brain will function better. If you will be lethargic, sitting at one place only, your brain's functioning will be affected. So have 30 minutes, 40 minutes exercise. Have 30 minutes meditation session in the day. Those things will improve your concentration. So whatever you are doing in 4 hours, you will be able to do in 2 hours. Yeah. And cut down the distractions. Like that, you have to build your own timetable. Because I cannot make a timetable for mothers, for working people, for free students at once. And then have realistic goals. That if I am spending 4 hours in a day, other person is spending 8 hours in a day, I'll not have the pace of that person. Be realistic, because unrealistic goals will lead to demotivation. ठीक है? Time management तो मैं बहुत कुछ पढ़े हैं, but the best tip which I found on time management is do little but of quality. In some country, I have found that they have reduced their working hours to around 6. But in India, our Indian managers think that if we'll hold the people for 10 hours, they'll be working for 10 hours. No. By sitting for 10 hours, you don't work for 10 hours. So suppose you have to make some files, and you are in an office where they say you that you have to make the same files in 10 hours, but in the other office they say you have to do it in 5 hours. You'll be completing the same files in both the times. In 5 hours also you'll be making the same files. In 10 hours also you'll be making the same files. But what you will be doing in 10 hours, you will be telling yourself, I am so exhausted, I don't want to do it, something like that. You'll just be cutting the things. But in 5 hours, you'll say, after 5 hours, I'll have enjoyment. Let's do it quickly. So you'll have more energy. The thing is that you should not give up yourself too many goals. Just give up, like the best productivity tip I would say is that give yourself only 6 hours work in a day and enjoy for the rest of the day. Then you will be even interested to do that 6 hours work. But if you are giving yourself 12 hours work, you will not be doing even your study or your work. Effective wage करनी है time management. बाकी अपनी अपनी स्टाइल है, बट मैं ये एंड च रियलाइज किया है लगभग 50-60 वीडियो देख के कि टाइम टेबल रखो पासे, 3 दे बस 3 काम रख लिया करो भी आ 3 काम करने, वो कर लिया करो, संतुष्ट हो जाया करो, अगले दिन रख लिया करो. 10 काम आते हैं, 20 काम आते हैं, सारे कट दो नीचे वाले, भी इन्हों की कोई प्रायोरिटी नहीं है, आ 3 कर लो बस संतुष्ट है. क्योंकि फिर तो संतुष्टि मिलती ही नहीं. ना 10 होंगे ने, जो 15-20 काम रख लेंगे ना, एक कर रहे हैं, दूसरा सोचना, इन्हें दूसरा करना, वो 3 भी नहीं होंगे जिहड़े करने से. माइंड सैटअप चेंज करना पैदा. अपने आप ना कही चलो मैं तो बड़ा प्रोडक्टिव है, मैं तो बड़ा कुछ कर दूँ. अपने को मैं बड़ा घट प्रोडक्टिव है, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता, मैं बस इन्ना ही करना बहुत है, उन्ना भी वधिया करना. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ कोई कहे कि तेनों इन्ना टाइम लगी जाता, तुम कहोगे हाँ मैंने तो वध टाइम लगता यार हर एक चीज. कोई चक्कर नहीं, अगले दिन सुनना शुरू कर दूंगा, टेंशन आ जाए. मैं डाउन टू डाउन फेस भी देखा हुआ है. जिवें कि तुसीं कह लो कि जो मैं राइस ते सीगा, आई वाज सो मच इन राइस कि आई वाज गेटिंग सो मेनी स्टूडेंट्स, सो मेनी रिजल्ट्स बैक टू बैक 8,777 एंड 7.5 इन राइटिंग्स. फर्स्ट टाइम होना शुरू होया सी. But I was under depression because I was putting so much pressure on myself. हूँ मैं लेना छाड़ता, जो मर्जी बोली चलो ठीक है. But depression actually I feel leaves a everlasting effect on your life. When you undergo a depression, हमेशा there is a possibility to go under depression again quickly. So those who have not witnessed depression, I would suggest them not to take it intentionally. ਇੰਨਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਨਾ ਲਓ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਲਵੇਜ਼ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਜੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਚੱਲੋ, ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਮਰਜ਼ੀਆਂ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਲਈ ਚੱਲੋ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਗੱਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ, better than 80% of the Indians, but ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਓਵਰ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਮਾਰ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਚਲੋ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ। ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ, ਬਟ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਵੀ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ। So we'll start with writing. Okay, so in writing you have a topic in the question ਜਿਸ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਲਿਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, and a task. They always have two parts in the question. A topic like a number of people are moving from rural areas to cities. They are moving from villages to cities. Is it a positive or a negative development? This is the task in which they are asking you a question. The problem with the Indian students is that in their schooling, they have only written on topics freely without having any task. Like talking about any personality, talking about any place, talking about any event, but having no task in it. Because of which, the biggest problem in today's generation is that they are having problems related to task achievement. They do not know how to remain on the topic. Suppose they have asked a number of people are moving from rural areas to cities. Is it a positive or a negative development? The first mistake which they may make is that they start telling why the people are moving from rural areas to cities. But that is not asked. They are asking, is it a positive or negative development? Means, does it have positive effects or negative effects? They are asking for effects. They're not asking for causes. And some people even start giving solutions. They're not asking for solutions. So you are missing the task in that way. The third way in which you can miss the task achievement is they are asking, is it a positive or a negative development? But you start talking about both. When you start talking about both, you're not answering the question, you are showing your knowledge. And basically, this test is not of knowledge, but of communication. How clear communication you have. Suppose you ask something from your friend that would you take tea or coffee, and he started explaining you the benefits of tea and coffee. How bad communication you will find it to be. And usually we run away from the people who are not on topic in real life also. Just assume, I'll not talk about some relatives, I'll just say, just assume some random aunties. You just ask them something, they start talking about something else. So would you like to talk with them? Because they are very bad communicator. They don't know what you are asking. Okay. That is what you are being in your essay. You are talking about things which have not been asked. So be to the point. After that, in the body paragraph, like we have an essay. I'll just show you. So this response I have written, in which I have written my introduction, paragraphs, and then conclusion. So in introduction, we introduce the topic that we are going to talk about this topic, and we are going to prove this in this essay. And then in the paragraphs, we take points. We take 1 point per paragraph, and we explain it. Why we do not take multiple points in a paragraph, that also I'll explain to you. And then we conclude by giving a summary of the total. Okay? This is how the essay is written. Now in body paragraphs, the people will say that this is basically people moving from rural areas to cities is a positive development because they get employment. And then they start talking about everything like people do not have the employment in rural areas. That is why they moved to the cities. So they were not asking for reasons. They were asking for effects. And the government also get more taxes in this form. Where you are going? Remain focused on your point. Talk about employment. And employment is actually a reason, not a result. More productivity would be a result. So that is how the people do not know what idea to use. They start throwing information. The examiner is reading it, getting bored out of it, and giving you lower score. I can expect the life of the examiner because after 10,000 essays, my life was also like that. मतलब लड़न ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਕਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਸੇ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਆਖੀ ਬਕਵਾਸ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੈ ਐਵੇਂ ਕੁਝ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਖਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਟ ਚਲੋ ਫਿਰ ਨਾ ਫਰਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਮਝ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜੋ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਲਿਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੰਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਜਮਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਚੱਕਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਮਤਲਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਖੁਸ਼ਕ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਬਾਈ ਆਹ ਕੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਾਰੀ ਡਿਕਸ਼ਨਰੀ ਫਰੋਲੋ ਉਹ ਵਰਡ ਨਿਕਲੇਗਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਮੀਨਿੰਗ ਹੋਰ ਨਿਕਲੇਗਾ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋ ਯਾਰ ਇਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਇਲਸ ਦੀ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨੇ ਵਰਡਸ ਯੂਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਨਕਾਮਨ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਿਊਜ਼ਪੇਪਰ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਭ ਸਕਦੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਚੱਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਇਰਰੀਫਿਊਟੇਬਲ ਟੂ ਸੇ ਫਿਰ ਵਿਚ ਟੂ ਕਮੈਂਸ ਟੂ embark upon ਟੂ ਇਲੈਬੋਰੇਟ ਇਹ ਉਹ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਲਿਖਣੀ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਹੈ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਮਤਲਬ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਮੀਨਿੰਗ ਵਾਈਜ਼ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ So write for the meaning. पता होना चाहिए लिखना की है. So like this, you can have a question which is asking you to choose positive or negative, or you can have a question in which they are asking for both positives and negatives. So here you will write both, or they can ask you, is it more positive or negative? So you'll compare. Ki negative is this, but the positives are more in this and this way. Okay? So it's a comparison way. Similarly, is it advantages or disadvantages? Na meaning nahi change hoya na. The question is same. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Is the same question as this. They have just used synonyms. And do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Is the same question like this. They have just used synonyms. ठीक है? So ऐना सोचा करो कि हर question ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ कुछ माड़ा या word change हो गया तो question change हो गया. Actually, demand की है question की. Just go for demand. कि is the demand different? छोटे छोटे क्वेश्चंस तो पूछे जाते रहते सर ओपिनियन असिस्ट की लिखांगे ओपिनियन असिस्ट वही लिखोगे जो एग्री डिसएग्री च लिखने वो भी तो ओपिनियन ही है सो बेसिकली ये चीजें होंगी एंड देन यू हैव टू गिव रीजनिंग ऑफ व्हाटएवर यू राइट एंड एग्जांपल्स एंड हैव टू इंक्रीज द वर्ड लिमिट फ्रॉम 250 सो आइडियल वर्ड लिमिट इज 270 to 80 बिकॉज इन दिस you can write quality stuff and recheck it. But if you write 350, 400, you will throw the information, but it would not be of quality and you would not be able to recheck it also. So once I have written an essay of 400 words, a letter of 300 words in the same exam, because my speed is ultra high, and I got 7. Next time I wrote 279 words of essay, 201 words of letter, and I got 7.5. So then I searched somewhere and I found that they are looking for quality, not quantity. Whatever you are writing is meaningful or not, and you should cut down the crap from your writing, because while writing sometimes some unnecessary thoughts also enter and we write them, but when we are rechecking them we should cut them now, so that the reader do not get that crap. That is the difference between writing and speaking. Speaking is spontaneous. Even if we speak crap, they'll give us score, because we were showing our ability to speak. And speaking is basically for fast communication. Whenever we speak something, we want to deliver the message immediately. But writing is for accurate communication. Whenever we choose writing, we do it for giving the exact meaning to the person. That is why you can edit in writing. And because you can edit, so you are not allowed to write extra than what is required. Okay? So how to write a good essay? How to write an essay like this. So the first thing is to manage your time, that how you will manage your time. So you have 40 minutes for essay. But usually I take 42 minutes for essay and 18 minutes for task one, because you can divide it as you wish. The 60 minutes you can divide. So in the 40 minutes essay, I spare 12 minutes, please have a seat, for planning. In these 12 minutes, I do not write a single word on my fair sheet. I remain on my rough sheet. In the real exams, where I spent 15 minutes on planning, I got 7.5. Where I spent 8-9 minutes on planning, I got 7. And where I did not spend even 5 minutes, I got 6.5 minutes. So it has a clear correlation, because when I have planned for 15 minutes, I know what I want to say. But when I have planned for 8 minutes, I know half of the things, and rest of the half of the things I am thinking on the spot. When I have planned for less than 5 minutes, I even do not know what to say. And I'll be just throwing information. So plan for 12 minutes, write for 28 minutes, or basically not even 28 minutes. Try to write for 15 minutes. And 3 minutes for rechecking. Now you will say me that, sir, I am not able to finish my writing in 40 minutes also. How I'll be able to finish it in 25 minutes, right? The answer to this is the Parkinson's law. Parkinson has told that work expands to the time allowed to it. Which means if I tell you to make a resume in 1 week, you will make it in 1 week. If I'll tell you to make a resume in 1 day, you'll make it in 1 day. If I'll tell you to make a resume in 1 hour, you'll make it in 1 hour. So what happened when I gave you 1 week? You were just spending too much time on the same resume, correcting it and all, but end result was same. So if I give you 40 minutes to write, you will spend 40 minutes on writing, correcting it, altering it, but the result will be same. But if I give you 25 minutes, you'll be able to complete in 25 minutes also. Why? Because if you are writing 270 words and your speed is like 11 words per minute, you should be able to complete it in 25 minutes. And unless you do not put this target to yourself, you will end up by writing more and writing whatever is coming to your head, too much things. So reduce this time of writing and increase this time of planning. देखो, मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ कहता भी ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਪੀਚ ਆਏਗੀ, 15 ਮਿੰਟ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੋਲਿਓ। 15 ਮਿੰਟ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਲਾ ਲੇ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਬੋਲ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਇਹ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਉਹ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਪੀਚ ਕੁਝ ਬੋਲਿਆ ਬੈਟਰ। मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ 1 ਮਿੰਟ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਪੀਚ ਹੈ, ਚਲੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ 1 ਮਿੰਟ ਚ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਬੋਲਣੀ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੀ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਤਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਤਾਂ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ। ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਚ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ 4-5 ਮਿੰਟ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕਰਨਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਜੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਵੈਲੂਏਟ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਅੱਛਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੁਰਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਕੀ ਆਏਗੀ, ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਕੀ ਆਏਗਾ, ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਕੀ ਆਏਗਾ, ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਜਸਟ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਰੈਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਘੁਮਾ ਕੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਾਂ ਇਰਰੀਲੇਵੈਂਟ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ। then you end up with a poor quality essay. But instead of that, if you spend 12 minutes systematically, you can have a quality essay. So I'll tell you the system. For the first 2 minutes, और close कर दो, इस तो उधरों कह रही हूँ। So, for the first 2 minutes, you should understand the question. जिससे लोग की ज्यादातर गलती कर देते हैं, they do not understand the question and they start writing without understanding the demand. So I'll give you a question and I'll see your understanding of the question. ठीक है? So the question is, those who have done this question before, please do not answer. Those who are new to this question, they should answer. I need 4 ideas from your side that what points you will use in this essay. ਦੱਸਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਆ ਜਾਣ। Distraction. Okay. 4 ideas. Okay. Okay. Others? Let's see this. Okay. But कुछ जन ने नहीं सोचा होना कि vehicles, loudspeakers, ये सोचा होना कुछ ने, है ना? बट चांस नहीं मिला क्योंकि दूसरे वाले पहला कुछ बोल गए। Vehicles, loudspeakers, noise, distraction, or basically health issues. Now the problem is, some of the students would be giving the reasons of noise increasing. Some would be giving the results. I'm on the exam. Even my student who was prepared for 7 band score, she took a 10 days break before the exam and she started revising her notes. She found that her cause solution essay is always correct. So she started praying that I should get cause solution in the exam. She even went to the temple and in the exam, she got this question. I'll just tell the question. So she immediately thought that my prayers have been heard and I have got cause solution. And after 3 minutes only, she started writing. She wrote the ideas of vehicles, loudspeakers, and then the solutions, spread awareness, put penalty, and then she ended the essay. At the end, she was left with 6 minutes for completing the essay. Then when I was checking her writing once, I had told her, because I had seen this pattern in her writing, I had told her that whenever you will have more than 5 minutes after completing your essay will be a crap. You will not get the score if you are having more than 5 minutes. She asked me then that why this is the case. I told her that they have given you a resource of time and you are not utilizing it. It means your quality is poor. At that time, she thought that now I'll prove sir wrong. And she said that I have written this, I should read it again In the last 2 minutes, she read that why this is a problem. This is a problem means why noise is a problem. So it means why noise is a problem, how noise leads to some negative effects. So noise leads to distraction and health issues. That is why it is a problem. They were asking for effects, not causes. But by looking at the word why, she thought it is a cause. And her listening score was very good, reading also very good, speaking also very good, writing 6. Because she was writing on something else than asked. So this is why I say that you should understand the question. For understanding the question, you should translate it in your own language, or you should rephrase each and every word, but do not skip any word. Do not just think that I have understood it, it is simple. They are not putting simple questions. Why students are not getting scores? The main reason is task achievement. The main reason is not vocabulary and grammar. I'll give you another question. This time with a challenge. If anybody who has not attended this class before, the last Sunday's class, sees this question, there is 95% chances that you will go wrong. So out of the whole students, we have 95% students will have wrong answer to this question. Because this question came to one of my students who is our teacher now, who got 6 in the real exam. But her level was so good that even I had to check vocabulary in dictionaries, and her vocabulary was fine. I used to learn vocabulary from her writings. She had done PhD. She was teaching law students, and her age is like 32. And she has done French also, B2 level, and extremely good, extremely knowledgeable person. But got 6 in this question. So that is why I'm putting a challenge. Let's see who gets this correct. If you have not attended the last Sunday's class. So she got this question. She decided to entirely agree, and there is no problem with that. You can entirely agree, and to what extent do you agree, disagree questions? Because in once I got the question of to what extent do you agree or disagree, in the exam I entirely disagreed and I got 7.5. Second time I again got this question, to what extent do you agree or disagree? I entirely agreed, wrote 2 paragraphs and got 7.5. The first time I wrote 3 paragraphs and I got 7.5. It is not the matter that how many paragraphs you are writing or what response you are giving. It is that how you convey your message. So ADS for this. Boost confidence. Somebody is saying boost confidence. Takes away the fear of handling the public. Okay. Leadership qualities. No fear of communication. Anything else? Better future. By knowledge, because there are different ways. More knowledge. Confidence हो गया. This one. Mental ability increases the mental ability. Reasoning increases reasoning power. Improves emotional intelligence also. interpersonal skills, communication च आ गया. Passion. Because when they tell everybody that I'm going to do this, then they have to do it. So that is how you have passion when you are doing public speaking. Anything else? Extrovert person बनाओ. Motivation दिन है. Motivation. Okay. Motivation. Motivated बनाने हैं. Outs. वो बस motivation वगैरह का result होएगा. It is not the direct result of this thing. We should think of direct results. Indirect results would mean lower score because we have not understood the question. See, if somebody is saying pollution is increasing and I am giving the result of it as lower productivity, that is not the direct result, but it can be a negative indirect result. Like from pollution we have poor health, from poor health we have poor productivity, but that is not how we should be giving the ideas. We should be giving immediate ideas, otherwise they are not linked with the topic. एक चीज दे indirect results भी बहुत होंगे हैं, तो direct भी होंगे. Direct वाले क्या? Indirect causes भी बहुत होंगे, तो direct भी. Like for pollution, somebody will say technology is a cause. No, vehicles are the cause. Technology has given a lot of things, out of which vehicles are one, and vehicles are giving like polluted air. Indirect results या reasons देने नाल score कर दो. ठीक है. Professional network on the okay. More network. Socialize हो गए. चलो छੱਡ दो 10वां पॉइंट छੱਡ दो ਤੁਸੀਂ क्योंकि basically till now your all 9 points are wrong. ठीक है. तो इसलिए रहन दो, हजे सीख लो. I'll tell you that she wrote better communication, improves emotional intelligence and leadership qualities in her essay, and she got 6. Next week she gave again an exam, she got 7. So she came to me and she asked that कि सर पहली बार वैसे ही नहीं स्कोर देंगे. Like the normal question that do they do it intentionally for the first time? I said no, I have many students who have got CLB 10 in the first time also, and my 25 to 30% students have got it in first time. So it is possible if you are a good dedicated person, you can get it in first time. Otherwise you will learn from a failure and you will improve. Okay? So then she said, she get offended a little, and then she said, sir, I teach law students. I have so much experience of life. I have done a PhD, and they made me stood along with the academic students who have cleared their 12th, and they also get 6 in writing. And I am also getting 6. Is my English equal to them? Then why I should be teaching at the college? Like what they have seen in my English. This was a heated argument. I know how to deal with the heated arguments. I don't take them personally, because then the heat actually rises if you take it personally. So I said that a simple answer, which I give to others also, but they do not understand, that your score is 50% on the basis of your English and 50% on the basis of your communication. She said, sir, what is the difference? I said, let's evaluate the question which you got. She said, sir, the question was about public speaking. I gave the ideas of better communication. I said, no, what was the question? She said, sir, the question was public speaking should be taught, and then to what extent do you agree or disagree? And I gave these ideas. I said, wait, bring the question to me. I cannot be I cannot believe you that this is the question. She said, okay. She brought the phone to me and said, sir, this is the question. I read the question and then I said, what were your ideas? She said, sir, first idea was better communication. I told that they'll be having more practice. So I said, no, I don't want the reasoning because I have checked your writings. Your reasoning and result are always fine. Your example is also fine. Just give me ideas. She said, okay. Sir, better communication. I said, okay. She said, sir, better leadership qualities. I said, okay. She said, sir, understood हो गया कि मैं क्या हाँ वो मैंने हो गया. She said, sir, emotional intelligence. मैं क्या हाँ हो गया. Then I said, what next? She said, sir, why next? We usually write 3 paragraphs only in agree disagree. I said, no other idea? She said, yes, sir, I have not written any other idea. I said, okay, then what was the question? She said, sir, question is in front of you. I said, no, I am not saying that I do not know the question. I just want you to read the question. Okay, she said, okay, I'll read it. Sir, the question is, public speaking should be taught in schools. I said, where is schools? In your ideas, where is schools? If we teach public speaking at home, at a private institute, at any place, these things will happen. The question was not about whether public speaking should be taught. It was about whether it should be taught in schools. They were asking you, should public speaking be taught in schools? Should we do it in the schools? Not that what are the benefits of public speaking? So that is how people are not getting scores. I hope you would have got the answer that somebody, if not understanding the question, can end up like this. Now she asked me, sir, what will be the answers? तो मैं कहा कि हम सब नहीं लगता होंगे. She said, okay. I took my 15 minutes. I draw my picture. That this is the perfect case. Let's take it. Then I told, she said, sir, resource utilization, kid resources, मैं क्या? Teachers as public speakers, audience, equipment, now every organization must increase their resource utilization. They should not let their resources get wasted. She said, sir, then this would be the only idea. I cannot think of any other idea. I said, no, I have another idea also. She said, which idea, sir? To fulfill their duty. She said, which duty, sir? So the parents have paid them so the character of the children can be built, not for the marks. The government has allowed them so that they can build the nation builders, leaders, not for just that they can earn profit. So they have responsibilities from the parents and the government side. ठीक है? She said, it's the bus, sir. मैं क्या नहीं क्यों? अजय गल पूरी हुई नहीं मेरी. She said, "Hun keda idea?" I said, for their reputation, they should do it. So reputation किमें? They'll find debaters, communicators, orators who will represent them on different platforms. And as a result, they will get more admissions from the higher reputation. So for having a better reputation, for fulfilling the duty towards the government and the society, and for better resource utilization of their organization, schools should teach public speaking, which is the active from the passive sentence. Public speaking should be taught in schools. Why schools should care about the students? Because they have a responsibility. So that point would be under responsibility, not for students. Indirect results are not required. But that is a weak answer.
Have that much level of understanding.
If you want 7.5. Because when I told you that I got 7, when I was having the vocabulary of, for people, I just knew the word a person and one. Not even individuals, not anything. And I was repeating those words. But my ideas were so precise. They were to the point. I knew what I have to write in this paragraph. That is why I was getting the score. So I used to plan, think in silence, and then respond. Not think in so many distractions and then start responding. It is not that you need to get these ideas. It is actually necessary that you get this understanding. Your ideas can be different. But if your understanding is same, then you will get the score. So in our sessions, like the essay planning classes, which we have, or the essay techniques classes, we take a question and we discuss about it. We take ideas from the students and then I prove them that how they are wrong and what would be the correct thing. And then their logics change toward things, their vision change, and they get better. And that is how they get good scores. I would say that, okay, we have some sentence structures which we ask students to enter, or we have vocabulary and all, but they are not the key. The key is task achievement. If you have good task achievement, your score will improve. Now, what these classes do, in which we do planning. Suppose you have attended this class of public speaking. Now you get a question of environment subject should be taught in universities. You will not miss the part in universities because you have got the logic. It is not about knowing the essay, it is knowing the logic of this. So that is why these planning classes are ultimately helping you to have strong logics and think critically that whether the question is asking this or this. No, not out of the box. They give, see, no. In an essay, my question was, out of the various things like newspaper, books, internet, and radio, which is the best way to get knowledge or knowledge of the surrounding world. I chose internet and I said that because it is inexpensive, having the most speed, and is a two-way communication. These were my ideas, the most common ideas. But I wrote the ideas effectively. Like in speed, I just remained on speed within clicks. But when I was talking about, you can say inexpensive, I was not saying within clicks. But what students do when they are talking about the variety of information, or when they are talking about, you can say inexpensive, then also in the essay of internet, they keep on writing within clicks. So what within clicks mean? It means speed. It doesn't mean something else. So use the words very carefully, that whether that word is for speed or that word is for variety or that word is for anything else. I use the most common ideas. Like, see, first thing is understanding the question. Second step is brainstorming ideas. In brainstorming ideas, what I do is that whatever ideas keep on coming to me for 5 minutes, I keep on sitting for 5 minutes and keep on thinking of ideas. Now, these were not out of the box. These to utilize their teachers. That was the first idea which came to my mind. Then I thought to utilize the audience also. Then I thought to utilize the equipment also. So firstly, I had these 4 ideas, but then I clubbed them in resource utilization. Similarly, I got a separate idea for parents and separate idea for government. But then I clubbed them to fulfill their duty. Similarly, I got separate ideas for students success and for the school's reputation, but then I clubbed them. How I could club them? I spent time. And why you could not do it? Because I didn't give you time. Could you see this trick? When I gave the question, I immediately started writing ideas, and you started thinking in that way. Otherwise, you may have read that word of schools, but I made you not to read it because I didn't give you time. So if you will give yourself 12 minutes, you will be able to reach here. Without that, you will not reach here. देखो ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਥਿੰਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਬੈਟਰ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥਿੰਕ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਮਿਲੇ. So the second part is brainstorming ideas. And brainstorming ideas means whatever is coming in your head, keep on jotting it down, even if it is an example. You get an example, you get a result, you get a reason, jot it down. Because otherwise, if you have not jotted down, then later on you will thinking यार वो idea की सीगा उसी ते ही अटके रहोगे तो थोड़े 5 मिनट टाइम खराब हो जाएंगे. Instead of that, quickly jot it down and think that okay, ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਰ ਸੋਚੋ, ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਰ ਸੋਚੋ, 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਸੋਚ ਲਓ. Then select ideas which look good. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ideas ਕਿਹੜੇ ਸਹੀ ਹੈ. Merge ideas, combine ideas ਕਿ ਇਹ ideas ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ हैं ਇੱਕ ਪੈਰਾਗ੍ਰਾਫ 'ਚ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ. Deselect ideas, ये ideas नहीं use करने. Because the biggest problem which I otherwise find in the planning of students is that whatever they have planned they want to write. जिन्ने भी ideas आ गए ना कसोणगे सारे एक पैराग्राफ 'ਚ ਜਾਂ ਦੂਜੇ ਪੈਰਾਗ੍ਰਾਫ 'ਚ. कुछ ਛੱਡ ਵੀ ਦਿਆ ਕਰੋ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕੁਝ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਬੇਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾ ਕਰਾਂ. ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਘੱਟ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਵਾਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ. ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕਰਕੇ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ. ਐ ਨਹੀਂ ਫੀਲਿੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕਣੀ, ਮਾਰੇ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਿਲੈਕਟਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਿੰਗ. ਕਿਹੜਾ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਮੈਂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੱਖੂੰਗਾ, ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਦੂਸਰਾ, ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਤੀਸਰਾ, so that there is a flow in my paragraphs. And then flow of paragraphs, which I'll explain in the evening class because it is a different concept, big concept about deciding the flow of paragraphs. कि पहली लाइन च की आएगा, दूसरी च की आएगा, तीसरी च की आएगा, चौथी च की आएगा. क्योंकि you cannot just end up by writing random information. पढ़ी नहीं जानी, दूसरे को समझ नहीं आनी, step by step लिखना पड़ेगा. And then final position होती है ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. And about brainstorming, I would like to tell you that the people who think how we should generate ideas ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰੀਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ. ਬੜਾ ਇੰਟਰਸਟਿੰਗ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਣਗੇ. ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਵਿਦ ਟਾਈਮ. ਵਿਦਆਊਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ हैं, विद टाइम आएंगे. टाइम तो दो. दूसरा क्वेश्चन है, दूसरा भी है बाय रीडिंग. विदाउट रीडिंग आइडिया आ जाएगा. इस तरह डिस्कशन कर लेंगे. Some people think that they generate ideas. Actually, you do not generate ideas, you copy ideas. Always in your life. In your life, you copy ideas. You do not create ideas. How I can say this? Suppose you are a 2.5-year child and you are speaking a new word. Your parents will always question you from where you have learned this. They'll not question you how you produce this word. ठीक है ना? Funny concept. But later on, after 20 years, you start thinking that I am producing words. No, you are not. You are just copying those words and repeating those words which you have heard, which you have read. Which scenario you know, which situation you know, you just know that. You do not create words. ठीक है, क्रिएट करने वाले वर्ड्स मसा एक दो क्रिएट करके जाते हैं अपनी पूरी लाइफ च. ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਈਡੀਆਸ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਆਣਗੇ. ਇਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਫਨੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸਰ ਪਾਏਗਾ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰੋਗੇ. ਸੋ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਰੀਡ. That is why I said that when I improved from 7 to 7.5, I read 100 essays, I wrote one. Those 100 essays affected my way of thinking. Okay? And the sentence formation and all, which I saw in those essays. I rewrote those essays. I had a special notebook in which I used to write that essay in a clear language, word by word. And then I grasped those essays. And now I have their power. अपने वालों प्रोड्यूस करिए होंगे अच्छी होंगे. तीसरा, to generate ideas, be a part of discussions. Whenever you are a part of discussions, it can happen that from inside you, a special line will come. You do not realize that how you spoke this. But the discussions make your idea generation stronger. But I don't say that by writing you get ideas. ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹੋ ਐਵੇਂ ਆਣਗੇ ਆਈਡੀਆਸ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਉਹ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਾਂ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਗਲਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਐਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਡਾਊਟਸ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਡਾਊਟਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਟੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਟੈਮਿਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਨਸੈਂਟਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ उस सेंटेंस ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਕੀ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਅਗਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਸਟੈਮਿਨਾ ਤੇ ਕਨਸੈਂਟਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਗ੍ਰਾਮਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਅਗਲੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਮਝਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਬਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕਨਸੈਪਟ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਆਨਸਰ ਤੱਕ ਸੀਗੇ ਅੱਛਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਬਸ ਉੱਥੇ ਖਤਮ ਫਿਰ ਉਨੀ ਕੁ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਮਿਲੀ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਡਾਊਟਸ ਲਈ ਚਲੋ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੇ ਨੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੱਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਉਹ ਆਪ ਉਸ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਚੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੇ ठीक है ਐਵੇਂ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਓ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਦੇ ਲਓ ਯਾਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਓਗੇ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗਸ ਮੈਂ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਅਗਲੇ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਆਈਡੀਓਲੋਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਡੀਪਲੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੌਮੇ ਪੰਕਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸੈੱਟ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਣ ਦਾ ਢੰਗ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਰਡਿੰਗ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜੋ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਇਗਨੋਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਐਸੇ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਐਸੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਐਸੇ 20 ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਨਾ 20 ਐਸੇ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰ ਲਏ ਅੱਧਾ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੇਰਾ ਲਿਖਣ ਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਉਹੀ ਆਏਗਾ ਕਾਪਿੰਗ 1 by 1 ਵਰਡ ਬਾਏ ਵਰਡ ਚਮਾ ਚੇਪਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਾਰੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੀ ਸਟਾਈਲ 'ਚ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਲਿਖੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੀ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਕਾਪੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਬਾਈ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਜੇ ਵਰਡ ਬਾਈ ਵਰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਇੱਕ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਕਪੈਸਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਰਡ ਬਾਈ ਵਰਡ ਕੀਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਐਸੇ ਕਾਪੀ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਤਲਬ E2 IELTS ਐਡਵਾਂਟੇਜ ਡਿਜ਼ IELTS ਬੜੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਵਧੀਆ ਚੈਨਲ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਫਲॉज ਵੀ ਲੱਭੇ ਨੇ ਯਾਰ ਇਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਇਹ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਚੈਨਲਸ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨ ਤੇ 7.5 to 6.5 ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲਏ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਚੈਨਲ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ ਥੋੜਾ ਸਹੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੋਂ ਫੜੋ ਐਵੇਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਲਤ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਓ ਹੋ ਜੇ ਪੰਜ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਰੀਡ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਨਾ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰੋ ਰੀਡ ਕਰਨ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਗਨੋਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਤੋਂ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਈ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਐਸੇਜ਼ ਨਾ ਸੋਚੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਈ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ anything ਸੋਚੋ like reading newspapers reading books reading novels because from there you will get concepts of everything in world ਲਿਖਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਿਸਨਿੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏਗਾ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਇਨਫਾਰਮਲ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ। ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ 'ਚ ਨਾ ਫਾਰਮਲ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਐਸੇ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੈ। ਨੋਵਲਸ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਐਸੇਜ਼ ਲਈ ਅੱਛੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਨੋਵਲਸ ਹੈਵ ਇਨਫਾਰਮਲ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਬਟ ਸਟਿਲ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਗੁੱਡ ਫॉर ਵਰਡਸ ਐਂਡ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼। ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨੇ, ਨਵਾਂ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਚਣ ਦਾ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਲਿਖਣ ਦਾ। ਸੌਂਗਸ ਤਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੂਵੀਜ਼ ਦੇਖੋ ਉਹ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਲਈ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਲਈ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ they do not have formal vocabulary. See, I'll tell you something which you would not be knowing definitely because I have read so many books. So basically in writing we have academic style of writing which is in schools, thesis work and all, and the same writing is expected in IELTS. The way you make your thesis in master's degree or PhD, that is the way you should write essays. It should be plagiarism free, not memorized. It should be not having overuse of connectors, not having personal pronouns and all those things. इस तरह की IELTS की writing में कुछ हद तक. Then you have business style of writing, the way you write mails. Then you have technical style of writing, engineering books. Then you have casual style of writing, like we talk. Then you have creative style of writing, like the poets write. So there can be stuff in which they could have used business style or the casual style or creative style, and you learn from it and you start using it in academic style, your scores will be lower because your tone is inappropriate. ठीक है, so इसलिए इस चीज़ों का भी ध्यान देखना पैंदा है कि academic style का word है कि नहीं. मेरे
Sir, I want to ask something.
हाँ जी.
ਸਰ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਰੀਰਾਈਟ ਕਰੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਐਸੇ, ਤਾਂ ਸਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਐਸੇਜ਼ ਇੰਸਟਾਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਤੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ?
कुछ एसेज इंस्टाग्राम पे हैं, like half of the essays लगभग हैं.
ਓਕੇ ਸਰ, ਬਾਕੀ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ?
बाकी फॉर पेड स्टूडेंट्स रखे हुए हैं जी.
ਓਕੇ ਸਰ, ਓਕੇ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸਰ.
अच्छे नहीं है क्योंकि उन्हें कई सैंपल्स दिंदे हैं 6.5 बैंड दे, कई सैंपल्स दिंदे 6 बैंड दे, एंड दे हैव ऑलवेज हैव अ डिफरेंट स्ट्रक्चर, सो यू कैन नॉट फॉलो देम. कैम्ब्रिज बड़ा शातिर बंदे ने, सानू कुछ भी परोस के नहीं देने लगे क्योंकि वो टेस्ट ले रहे हैं, वो नहीं है कि थोड़ा प्रिपेयर करके उसके लिए रेडी कर रहे हैं. उन्होंने तो ਸਾਨੂੰ हमेशा ये चैलेंज ਹੁੰਦਾ है कि YouTube ਤੇ अगर कुछ चीज एक्सप्लेन होगी तो उसका ट्रैप बना दो क्योंकि लोग वो देख रहे हैं. तो क्या ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ कि कैम्ब्रिज वाले नहीं देख रहे YouTube चैनल्स? क्या ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਈਜ਼ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ? ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਰਟਕਟ ਟੀਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਟਰੈਪ ਬਣਾ. ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਾਰਟਕਟਸ ਲਰਨ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਟਰੈਪ ਬਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ YouTube ਤੇ ਚੈਨਲ ਤੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਬੰਦਾ ਵਿਚਾਰਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਰਗਾ 7 ਸਾਲ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੈਂਬਰਿਜ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਹੈ English language though, definitely a higher level of person. So we should like always understand that we have to do it in the hard way, in which way they want. Shortcuts will not work. जो चाहते ने वो करो, रीडिंग चाहते ने वो करनी तो रीडिंग करो, नहीं तो उन्होंने वही टेस्ट बनाई जाना. राइटिंग ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਰੱਟੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਨੇ, एग्री और डिसएग्री च वन साइडेड लिख देंगे ने, उन्होंने क्वेश्चन बदल देना. उन्होंने क्वेश्चन ये पाता इस बारी कि इंग्लिश इज बिकमिंग अ ग्लोबल लैंग्वेज, डू द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ दिस ना, इंग्लिश इज बिकमिंग अ ग्लोबल लैंग्वेज, इट्स एडवांटेजेस आर मोर दैन द डिसएडवांटेजेस, डू यू एग्री और डिसएग्री. उन्हें का मतलब की है कि अगर तुम एग्री करते हो तो भी एडवांटेजेस ज्यादा दिखाओ, डिसएडवांटेज घट, तो डिसएग्री करते हो तो डिसएडवांटेज ज्यादा दिखाओ तो एडवांटेज घट, बट कंपेरिजन करो. क्वेश्चन बदलता ट्रैप तो ਐ ਬਣਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ. ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਬੜੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟਰੈਪ ਵਾਲੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ, ਮੈਂ ਮਾਰਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਪੱਕਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਉੜ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਨਾ ਇਹ 10-12 ਹੈਗੇ. ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਡੈਡੀਕੇਟਲੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਬਟ ਆਈ ਐਮ ਨਾਟ ਮੇਕਿੰਗ ਸ਼ਾਰਟਕਟਸ, ਆਈ ਐਮ ਟੈਲਿੰਗ दैट we should know the traps.
Hello sir.
Yes.
Sir, ਜੋ rest of the essays ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਬਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ?
ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨੰਬਰ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਸੈਪਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ ਲਿਓ।
Okay.
ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਨੰਬਰ। ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ। ਇਨ ਦ ਈਵਨਿੰਗ ਫਰਮ 7 to 9 PM we will have discuss both an agree disagree essays discussion. Now we'll just discuss about speaking for 10-15 minutes and then we'll end the session. Okay, note कर लो जिन्हें करना है। I'll take 2 minutes break and then I'll be starting again. मैंने क्या था ओके नहीं मैंने क्या था 20 minutes 20 minutes चलो भाई राइटिंग बंद करिए। राइटिंग तो बहुत कुछ खान है तो PhD कर ली साल तो हो ही जाती है। चलो now we'll talk about speaking, ठीक है। एक बुक जी डाउनलोड की थी कि मैं तो जो तुम मेहनत ना चलोगे ना टाइम भी घट लगूगा ते फेलियर भी नहीं होगा। तो बट रियलिस्टिक जी एक्सपैक्टेशन रखियो उसके हिसाब नाल चलते रहो। अगर तुम शॉर्टकट्स पिछे भजन लग गए तो दोबारा अटैम्प्टां भी लगणगियां ना यार। मक्कड़ दी बुक होंदी है मक्कड़ स्पीकिंग PDF, ठीक है। मैं बुक जेडे अपने ग्रुप च है स्टूडेंट्स उन्होंने तो शेयर कर दूंगा। इस तरह की बुक आती है राइट, काफ़ी जने फैमिलियर होंगे इस नाल। जे IELTS दे वर्ड च आए हो तो तुहानूं ये बुक नाल तो फैमिलियर होना ही पैना। हुण एक इस ते चीज़ दस दिंदे देखो। For speaking, basically the speaking will be as an interview for 11 to 14 minutes. The other person will be sitting on the other side of the table, or it can be in a video conferencing mode also. I have a video on video conferencing mode which we had uploaded on YouTube a year back, so that how the video conferencing speaking happens. Like you have a headphone where you get a mic and basically headphones. And I find that to be better format of speaking. The reason is that the voice clarity is very much, and when the cue card is being played, the cue card question remains on the screen for the full 2 minutes. So after 1.5 minutes, like I was missing one question, so I did not have to look down. I read it from the screen only and I spoke. So otherwise also I find it to be more comfortable. But for more details, you can watch that video. For speaking, the main two things which are required are ideas and confidence. बस खत्म। इस तरह ये दो चीज़ें आंदी होन कोई चीज़ बोलनी चाहिए। Otherwise, they say that the parameters are पहला fluency and coherence, in which they say that you have to be logical because coherence means logic. And you have to have less repetitions, less pauses, less fillers. Fillers are like the same words which you are repeating, like and, moreover. So any word which you are filling to fill the gaps. Or less self-corrections, repetitions, less hesitations. Hesitation is like you are telling some story, but then you do not want to tell that story. You are now hesitating because it is a personal story. So then you are hesitating. right? But basically, if you have ideas, automatically you have more to tell and you will have less repetitions. ज़्यादा गल्लां पता नहीं तो repetitions अपने आप घट जाएंगे. Second, if you do not have ideas, your pauses will occur. Like you do not have an idea, so you will pause there and think. Or you do not have an idea, so you will have fillers. Pause. Or you will have hesitations when you do not have idea. Similarly, when you do not have confidence, you will have repetitions. When you do not have confidence, you have pauses. When you do not have confidence, you have fillers. When you do not have confidence, you have self-corrections. Means was. The person was listening to your idea. He was concentrating on the communication. But you brought him to the mistake of grammar. और आराम ना सुन रहा है क्योंकि ना देखो ह्यूमन वांगू समझो उन्होंने मशीन वांगू ना समझो और एक टाइम ते चारों फैक्टर नहीं चेक कर रहे तो मैक्सिमम टाइम ते थोड़े नाल बस कम्युनिकेशन करके देख रहे कि ਇਹਦਾ ਲੈਵਲ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਬਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰਾਮਰ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਨੋਟ ਕਰੋ ਕੱਟੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਕੋਰ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਇਹ ਦਿਖਾ ਕੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰਾਮਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੱਟਣਾ ਭੁੱਲ ਹੀ ਗਏ सेल्फ करेक्शंस नहीं करी थी हमेशा कॉन्फिडेंस ना बोली थी मैं आप ही सही हूँ ते हेजिटेशंस ठीक करी दी हुण ये सब चीज़ों ਲਈ फॉर आइडियाज यू शुड रीड ठीक है रीड द मक्कड़ बुक read the intro questions from page 182 onwards all the intro questions 136 or whatever read them by having a pencil in your hand and marking the important words or phrases or new ideas and write whatever you are having at the side. Interact with that book. Do not just read from the top. Read all the intro questions and then in the cue cards, try to speak from yourself. If you are not able to speak for 2 minutes, then read the answer. Now, a lot of people will be saying this would be cramming. That they will come to know that we are using the same. But the problem is that everything in world you have crammed. You have not produced from yourself. And basically, when you will read the 260-page book, you will not be able to cram it word by word. Unless you are an extraordinary person. But you will have an idea. And just say सोचो कि एक person ने agriculture बारे कुछ चीज़ें पढ़ ली हैं 2-3 पेज पढ़ ले एक person ने नहीं पढ़ी उन दोनों स्पीकिंग देने जा रहे हैं which person will be able to give better speaking ने पढ़े ठीक है सो ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਟਾਰ ਹੈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਵਾਲਾ ਐਟੀਟਿਊਡ ਮੇਰਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ ਹੈ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੋਲਣਾ then I met with one of our tutors Akanksha. She has scored 8 several times. She has given the exam 14 times. The 14th attempt she cleared. Like we have another student Rajdeep who is also a teacher. She cleared the exam after 5 years. Okay. So it's basically extreme examples we have. ਹੁਣ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਕੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਆਕਾਂक्षा ਦੇ ਅਗੇਂਸਟ I asked her ma'am ਕਿਉਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ 8 ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਚ She said, every time, even if I have given the exam few days before, I read this book thoroughly. And never leave this book. I just grasp this book. I like swallow this book. And then I vomit it out when I'm speaking. So it is like, I have so many ideas. They even want to ask about agriculture. I know a lot of things. Speak. Okay. And they are forced to give me 8. I have so much grasped it so many times that now I have intonations also with this. Intonations means you start sounding natural. When it is a moment of excitement, your volume go up. When it is a moment of sadness, your volume go down. So you start feeling the words. So that is how she has read the book. 8 ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਲੋਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਰੱਟੇ ਮਾਰਨ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਂ 8 ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਫੈਕਟਰ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਰੱਟਾ ਤੇ ਸਕੋਰ ਕੱਟਾਂਗੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ 'ਚ ਹੈ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਇਨ ਦ ਆਂਸਰ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਐਟ ਦ ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਹੈਵ ਰਿਟਨ there will be penalty for memorized content. आंसर शीट घुमा के देख दे, पिछली साइड लिखा होता है कि वो memorized पे penalty लगाएंगे. So firstly read orally. लोग की करते हैं आखिरी 3 दिन 4 दिनों च पढ़ते हैं ये मक्कड़ दी बुक, फिर उन्होंने तो पढ़ी नहीं जाती, अद्धे क्यों वर्ड रह जाते हैं, फिर उन्होंने चले जाते, फिर टेंशन च होंदे भी वो ना पूछना नहीं ना पूछना, पहले ही सिस्टमैटिकली पढ़नी सी. Second is confidence. For confidence, you need a few things. पहली चीज जिहड़ी तुहानू हेल्प कर सकती है, that can be meditation. What meditation does, which watching inspirational videos and doing prayer does not. I tell you what. There are 2 styles of prayer. One in which we say we will do everything good, just give me marks. Then we increase the level of this prayer and we say I'll do these good things to get me the marks. Then you increase, I'll give this much donation, give me the marks. And now you're thinking that that person who can give you the marks will be waiting for your donation. Like you think that you can negotiate with that person. So every time when you are asking for marks, you are putting the pressure on yourself that marks are important for me, not learning, not hard work. Marks are important for me. And because of that, you are not able to do the hard work. So that type of prayer, I think, fails. The second type of prayer, which we do in meditation also, is the prayer of thanks. Like we just thank that whatever we have got is good. We do not ask for anything. So when we have that type of attitude, we do not have pressure. We have just the attitude to work hard. So that is why I say meditation is better. Why? Because in prayer, always we think that somebody is listening to us, so he'll be giving to us. In meditation, we never think that somebody is listening to us. We just set our brain. Okay. That is why I have less hesitations when I speak. In speaking also, like when they ask about any religious comments, I say that I'm not sure that anything exists. See, I have not seen, so I'm not sure. I'm not something like atheist, I'm not religious, I'm not whatever. I just do my work and I know that. So that is like, even in speakings, I have given such answers and they have given me a higher score because they were looking at my speaking. They were not looking at my religious beliefs or my political beliefs. So I speak very honestly. So that shows lesser hesitations. Meditation, how it is important or better than external motivation. When you watch motivating videos, they give you a boost and your level of like energy increases, but you loses your control. So when you are excited, you cannot think clearly. But when you meditate, you can think clearly by having the energy also. You are in control. So that is why I say better than watching some inspirational videos, better than for some it would be a wrong comment, but I would say better than praying for me, I have found meditation to be better. So what I do is that sometimes I open a video of nature in which birds are chirping and the water is flowing. So I keep on watching it for half an hour and my mind is settled down. I have peace. Sometimes I just turn that volume of Om. It is a sound which helps in meditation and I do meditation. So I do these type of meditations to have focused mind. So if you have done meditation, you will be confident. You will not have, see, there is a clear relation. Desires of a score leads to fear of not getting it, leads to stress of not being able to get it. So actually, what is the culprit? Desire. The desire to get the score is the culprit to not being able to perform. But in meditation, you do not have desire. Do not even let the desire come in that something should happen. That is why people become sadhus and saints and monks, but it is out of the world for normal people. Second thing, which can help you to boost your confidence, is to talk with strangers. Talk as many strangers as you can. Like when I improved my speaking, I used to go on Facebook, find the group of speaking partner and write that I want a speaking partner. And then some messages used to pop up and I used to give my Skype ID, talk with them. I have talked with people from Russia, from Vietnam, from Arab countries. Initially, my friends used to scare me by saying that in Arab countries, you will find terrorists. But on the contrary, I found people who have very rich culture, who are very much connected with their families, who are good people and who know how to respect. Like I say that more than Indians, the Arab people know how to respect somebody. So they are very good at their hearts, but basically because of the politicians and all, or the news, we get other details. Even in Vietnam, I found that they are very polite and hardworking. And in Russia, I found that they are very bold. Like at the age of 16, I was talking with a girl and she has roamed all around the world, France and all alone. And we were sitting here who had not even seen south of India. Okay. Like nowhere got the chance to roam around because always protected by the parents. So I learned a lot of things from them and it boosted my confidence. I thought that if I can explain something to this person who is also preparing for IELTS, then I can also explain to the examiner. So that is how I came out of my, that you can say, introvert shell, that I talked with strangers. Even when I used to go to any place like Rishikesh and all, wherever I used to find foreigners and I tried to talk with them. Like I tried to ask different questions from them. And I got better at it. Earlier I was very poor. Like I just used to ask, would you like to take a picture with me? That was my question. But later on I got better with it. So that is how you improve your speaking. So when I see students giving speaking to different tutors, same tutor again and again, I feel that they are still in their introvert shell. They should try new teachers here. They have so many options. Apart from that, there are some teachers who tell that your hand movements matter, your smile matters, your posture matters. They don't. Because they are the part of non-verbal communication. They are checking what words you omit. That is why they have an audio record. Whenever they have to reevaluate the speaking, they will just listen to your audio, not see your eye contact. So instead of worrying about whether my hands are out or not, whether I'm smiling or not, worry about what you are speaking and how you are speaking, how you are expressing, with feeling or without feeling. And intonations, like I'll just give you one example of intonation. Like I was speaking in Elante in Chandigarh. They asked me the question that which are the big companies in your country? I said, we have Uber, we have Ola, which have changed the way the taxi system is running. Then we have Reliance, and we also have Tata, which is a great international company. So then the person asked me that, don't you have any big IT companies? I said, like in a very high tone, like intonation, Oh yes, how I can forget that? We are just sitting next to Tech Mahindra, which have recruited so many of my friends also. That was from the feeling. That is how they see that this person is a good speaker. So you should speak with feeling. So with this, I think we should end the session. It has gone too long. If anybody has any questions, they may ask, or you may ask the doubts on the reception number. Sometimes we do not lift the call. I will be honest with you guys, because even I don't mind it, because for a person to lift 20-25 calls in a day is hectic and depressing. So you can drop a WhatsApp message. मतलब कॉल ਚੱਕ ਲਓ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੰਦਾ 10-15 ਮਿੰਟ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮਾਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਐਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਇਹ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਸੁਣਨੀਆਂ।
Sir, I want to ask something.
Yes.
ਸਰ ਕੁਝ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਮੱਕੜ ਦੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਲਈ ਰੀਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਜਨਰੇਟ ਹੋਣੇ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸੇਮ ਬੋਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਕੋਰ ਘਟ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਟਰੂ?
ਦੇਖੋ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਪੜੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਸ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਟਰ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਲਓ, ਬਟ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਤੇ ਜਨਰੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈ।
ਓਕੇ ਸਰ, ਮਤਲਬ ਸੇਮ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ 'ਚ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ, ਮੈਂ ਸੇਮ ਸਟੋਰੀਆਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ।
ਓਕੇ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸਰ।
ਬਟ ਐਂ ਕਿ ਵਰਡਿੰਗ ਬਦਲ ਲਿਓ।
ਹਾਂ ਹਾਂ ਸਰ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਸੇਮ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਤਾਂ ਬੋਲ ਹੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ।
ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਚੱਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਥੋੜੀ ਮੋਟੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਨਾਮ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਸਪੋਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਤਾ, ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਤਾ, ਕੁਝ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਤਾ, ਕਹਾਣੀ ਉਹੀ ਬੋਲਤੀ।
ਓਕੇ ਓਕੇ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸਰ।
ਸੇਮ ਸਟੋਰੀਜ਼ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ। ਈਵਨ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਐਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ, ਪੰਜ ਕਿਊ ਕਾਰਡਸ ਤੇ ਚੇਪ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਸਨ ਹੂ ਇਜ਼ ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਟ, ਅ ਪਰਸਨ ਹੂ ਇਜ਼ ਓਲਡ, ਅ ਪਰਸਨ ਹੂ ਹੈਜ਼ ਗੁੱਡ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ। ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਸਨ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਈਏ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਾਦਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ।
ਈਵਨ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਅਪਣਾਇਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਵੈਨ ਲਾਸਟ ਈਅਰ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹਰੇਕ ਕਿਊ ਕਾਰਡ 'ਚ।
ਹਾਂ ਬਟ ਨਹੀਂ, ਥੋੜਾ ਸੋਚ ਵੀ ਲਿਓ, ਮਤਲਬ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਐਵੇਂ ਦੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਅਪਣਾਏ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ।
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸਰ।
ਓਕੇ। Okay, PPF method कुछ कहते हैं, like E2 great method of PPF. Talk about past, then present, then future. It is not applicable every time. Not applicable. Like in some questions, you are just forcing yourself to talk about past and present and future. Don't do that. Instead of that, you can talk about two things also. Like if they have asked you about your favorite song, you can talk about your favorite song also and your second favorite song also. Because in speaking, they do not have task achievement factor. They just want to see how you speak on this question. So PPF method, I have tried, but I have not been very comfortable with that. कि पहला past बोलो, फिर present बोलो, फिर future ते जाओ, हर एक चीज दी कहानी नहीं बनती। So वो इन्ने tension रखने दी जगह ते जो आंदा वो बोलो। 1 मिनट मिलता है, चंगी तरह प्लान करो ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ कि ये चीज़ां जोड़ सकते हैं, इस लड़ी जोड़ सकते हैं, तो फिर बोलना शुरू कर दो, ते ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस ना रखो दिमाग पे।
ਇਹ ਮੈਟਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਾਈ ਵੋਕੈਬ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਆਣਗੇ।
ਹਾਈ ਵੋਕੈਬ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਆਨਸਰ ਕਰਦਾ, ਬਸ ਹਾਈ ਵੋਕੈਬ ਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਹਾਈ ਵੋਕੈਬ ਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ we have videos recorded with the people who have scored 8.5 and 8. So the students who have joined, they would be able to watch the live speaking sessions. Live speaking sessions ki kita hai, I just 5 minutes before I told them that I will be taking your speaking, and then I took their speaking to note that how they speak, because when we see YouTube videos, they have scripted speakings and they have taken multiple takes, because of which it becomes very complex and high level. But when I took the speaking of a person who has scored 8.5 and noticed live, and I did it with multiple students like Amandeep, Akanksha and all, they were having convincing power, but they were not using any idioms, and they were not focusing on intentionally putting high vocabulary. They were focusing on being accurate and making the other person understand everything. So like this, we have a speaking with one of the persons. You can hear the speaking, it was good, I won't say that it was very low vocabulary, but it didn't look like cramped. ज़्यादा चीज जरूरी है ideas and confidence. अच्छा जी चलो.
Local transport, if like Patiala is a city where people are working locally only, so I think local transport is more preferred.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you some more questions about window view. What scenery can you see from the window of your room?
Basically two trees. They are very big, huge giant trees. Actually, when I put up the curtains of my room, so the first rays of sunlight trickle down to my bed. So it's very beautiful. And then there are two trees that I can see from my window. They are very beautiful. It gives me the feeling of living in a resort.
Okay. So do you like to watch the scenery from your window?
Very much so, actually. Because that is the best part of the day. You know, birds are chirping, they are all around. We can sing
Okay.
along with the
So
birds.
do you want to live in a house with beautiful window views?
Yes, it is very important because that's a good start for the day. It's such a motivation. It's such a boost of energy. Whenever we see natural beauty, we get immediately charged up, and that's such a boost of energy for next day or the rest of the day.
So how? Okay. So this is from a person who has got 8.5, and we have others from 8 scorers also. They are actually speaking by having a conversation. They are not actually thinking which words I should insert or something like that. They know that they have to talk about something special, which makes the conversation interesting and unusual, but they do not actually think of words when they are thinking of those unusual ideas. They are thinking of ideas. Anybody has any other questions, they may ask. Sir, speaking videos recorded मिल सकती हैं. Like you'll get the whole content together if you'll contact the reception guys. We do not provide them individually.
सर जी मतलब मैं कल तो भी क्लासेस स्टार्ट करनी होणगियां ऑनलाइन बट मैं आज पे नहीं कीता मैं आज इवनिंग क्लासेस स्टार्ट कर सकदी हां कि नहीं कल तो ही मेनू क्लास मिलेगी.
Basically, today's evening class would be on essays, and if you miss that, you will not be able to understand tomorrow's concept. Because see, if in the first class I'll talk about introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion, and in the second class I'll be explaining them in advance, you will not be able to understand it. And this session was till this point only.
बट सर मैं पेमेंट नहीं कीता ना सो पॉसिबल कि मैं क्लास अटेंड कर सकदी इवनिंग टाइम.
Ma'am, actually, we have a lot of planning videos, evaluation videos on YouTube, but for the classes, we have kept that content for the students who have enrolled. Okay. So I'm ending this session.